What's up, MPX addicts, and welcome to MPX Rehab. I am your host, the hashtag Certified Mark J. Williams, here with my co-host, back from COVID.
I'm alive! The voice of the MPX addicts, Kyle Smith.
And, well, this is going to be an interesting show because neither of the men with me today were at last week's show. But you know what? The more important part is today we have once again with us senior official Travis Truebourne.
Do you lose your senior official status, though, when you're not there?
I don't know. I don't know.
Well, that's why Carl was there. They had to go with the other senior official.
He lost that long time ago.
He's the backup senior official.
Oh, God, Nick's our senior?
Nick didn't look like Nick.
Yeah.
Nick did not look like Nick.
Oh, that's right. It was the Bizarro Nick.
Yeah, it was Bizarro Nick. He had this sitting there for like 5 minutes like, who is that guy? Holy crap, that's Nick.
Travis is quiet,
It's
apparently.
the eyebrows.
I have not seen him. I'm afraid to.
It's,
That beard, massive.
Yeah.
It was a glorified. He looked like Leonidas. Okay. He's like the referee version of Leonidas, and he looked great.
Just minus the abs.
Yeah.
well, no, it's like he also didn't have glasses on, so that made it even more weird because, you know, it was like no glasses, shorter hair, no beard. It's just like, it really took me about like a few minutes to figure out that was Nick.
He's going in blind, trying to be a wrestler.
Yeah.
I don't wear my glasses in the ring. He doesn't wear his glasses in the ring.
And no, that's understandable, but it's just I'm used to talking to him outside of the ring. He's got his glasses on.
Yeah. No.
I just realized that, too. I was like, wait a minute. He doesn't wear them in the ring.
No. But then again, neither does Iron Belly, neither does Richter, neither does...
Oh, I was going to say every wrestler's blind.
Exactly, yeah.
They just throw a line and hope they hit it.
This is why ring awareness...
Notorious for that.
Oh, yeah.
No, he has said that.
Oh yes.
Him and Sky both admitted, I just throw and hope it hits.
Uh-huh.
And they do.
That's why Richter...
Don't feel good.
That's why Richter's one of the better wrestlers, because he's just like, you know what? I'm just going to throw it. It's going to land. It'll be great.
I mean, it was good enough for Stan Hansen, so...
But, yeah, this last week... looks like somebody's home. The alarm system just went off. Sorry, folks. Nick Nash says, congrats on the debut for the new ref. Bizarro Nick.
So Bizarro Nick did okay?
But, yeah. But this last week at MPX, it was MPX's Prime Day, and I've got to say, this whole show from beginning to end, honestly, it was a good example of exactly what we can really kind of hope for with Exodus Prime as the MPX champion.
So you're saying there was good deals on this Prime Day?
Yeah.
Okay.
I definitely think so because you know what? We got a hell of a main event. It was like huge.
Yeah.
Because to start out, of course, you know, there were the balloons, there were the streamers, there was glow sticks, all sorts of stuff.
It was Prime Day. It was
yeah,
time
exactly.
to celebrate for Prime.
Exactly. Our new
Prime
MPX
was there to
champion.
Celebrate for his championship victory. That
Yeah.
was a good thing about it.
And he comes out
yeah.
celebrating, and then he gets interrupted by 50 caliber Barrett Brown coming out to say that, you know what, if you really want to prove that you're a champion, I got nothing else to do. Prove it against me.
Which is so great to be booked, yet have nothing to do, right?
Yeah, right?
But like
He was even on a poster.
Right out the gate, a top contender
Right.
in MPX comes out and challenges for the title.
Mm-hmm.
Kudos to Barrett Brown for doing so. I
Yeah.
mean, I think that's and for them to have for that to happen.
Right.
You know, actually put Prime in a place where now he's got to stay on top of his game.
Oh,
matter
yeah.
what he does.
Definitely. And, well, slight spoiler, if you didn't already know, I mean, after the end of the night, Prime definitely proved himself
Right.
with this
And
one.
yeah, we'll definitely talk about that later. But yeah, like Prime's always been on his game, but to be on top of his game as much as he was that night from the clips I saw, man, that was great. But it was also
absolutely.
Lugo. Granted, it's Lugo. He doesn't have a lot of good points, but he did have one very good point. Why is there a cake there? Does Exodus look like he eats cake?
No.
Yeah, he
but it's a
cake-
celebration, you know? He's,
The actual food cake, not other cake.
Oh, okay.
yeah, not his cake's a cake.
I see what you did there.
Thank you. That's what I'm known for.
But,
Is it real Nick or Bizarro Nick?
yeah, I was going to say, it's like speaking of Bizarro Nick, but so that altercation, you know, led to, of course, you know, Exodus Prime getting smashed into the cake. Not the cake smashed into him.
Well, it's
Prime was smashed into the cake.
It's wrestling.
Yeah.
There's a cake out there. It's going to get smashed.
Yeah, no, actually, that was always one of the funniest, you know, one of the kind of funniest and frustrating things when Kirby was MPX champion and had the picture that somebody had painted of him. It's like I saw it and I'm just looking at it going, somebody's head is going through that painting.
It lasted a long time, though.
Yeah,
I was kind of shocked at how long that lasted.
Yeah, I was just like, oh, wow.
But I mean, also I want to say the last time we had a cake in the building, Richard almost died from that. So
Yeah.
Yeah, about that.
Oh yeah, no, actually, Greg does bring up a good point. Barrett even used the line, "To be the best, you got to beat the best,"
that's true. Woo!
or at least to be the man, you got to beat the man. Something
What
like
up,
that.
Nick?
Yeah. But either way, I mean, honestly, it was a fantastic start to the night, and it was a very good indicator of what we could look forward to. Then we had the first match of the boy band behemoth Mikey B with the all-star Matt Locke in his corner, coming out and taking on the buzzard Tommy Bolton.
That's still a thing?
That's still a thing.
Oh, okay.
Until he takes on the King of Pop, Santana Jackson.
No, I meant him and Locke together.
Oh yeah, no, that's still a
okay.
thing.
They're
That's
still
very much
BFFs.
still a thing. They're still BFFs, and it's working out, sort of.
Which
kind
I
of.
can't remember who it was, but the whole montage of the Titanic song with Locke saving Mikey, that was good work. That was amazing.
Oh yeah, no, that was really good. But this match was actually really good. I mean, we got to see Tommy Bolton before at MPX, and you said you saw him at another promotion.
Yeah, heavy metal. He was always good there. He's one of those that I would love to have him all the time. He's very good. He's got that rough style that I like, and he's got a good look. And yeah, he's good. I like him.
He definitely lives up to the moniker of the buzzard and everything like that. I mean, he even does. I learned that Saturday, thanks to Kayla Cole, that apparently buzzards will upchuck as a defense mechanism, and Tommy Bolton does this sound for a lot of stuff.
So he draws.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, essentially.
Just stay away from D'Lo, and you're
I was
fine.
gonna say, he's like, except he can walk.
Is he still alive?
Yes.
Okay,
Yeah, I think
cool.
he's just,
I would feel really bad.
Oh yeah, same here. It's like I'm pretty sure he's still alive. Oh,
See me rolling. Anyways,
but this one actually ended in a very interesting way because Mikey was doing pretty good in the match, and Tommy actually played the Eddie Guerrero card essentially. At one point, the ref was distracted, so Bolton goaded.
That never happens with me.
Goaded Matt Locke.
but you don't wear your
into-
glasses, but yet you still see everything.
I see everything.
Everything. Yeah. But goaded Matt Locke into getting up on the apron, knocking his hat off of him and everything like that. And then he drops, full on, slams onto the mat.
You don't mess with the hat.
Exactly. You'd think that would be the case. But, because he dropped, the referee turns around, looks, and sees that, Locke's up on the apron and the ropes. Tommy Bolton's there on the floor. What did you do, Matt? Right. And so he kicks Matt Locke out of the, arena.
So a good ref.
Yeah, does the good ref thing.
Okay.
And of course, this allows Tommy Bolton to, since the ref is distracted again, to get a low blow and roll up Mikey B for the win. Yeah. So,
And he's got.
Apparently that was Rick Caldwell's doing.
Rick Caldwell.
Oh, okay.
Rick
There we
Caldwell.
go.
Yeah. Oh wait, did we see the wad of cash in his back pocket?
All I know is Bolton's got a hard ass head.
Yeah. Jeez. But then after that, we had the rugged Gabe Wilder take on Stevie Hendricks.
But you missed a note.
I can't say that name.
You're not allowed to say Hilda.
Yeah, I'm not
Why
allowed to because
Okay.
they said.
Didn't realize we were still on that, but okay.
Yeah, I was still on that
But yeah.
until they say otherwise.
Hilda coming down with Gabe, I actually like because, like I said, it gets her a lot more work out there,
Absolutely.
and not just with Tommy, and then also they're a group, they're a team, so they should all be together. So I do like that.
Yeah. It's honestly, it's a whole family, and I'm loving it, and it's great, to be perfectly honest. And this match was really good. Stevie Hendricks is a hell of a performer. Gabe Wilder is even more of a hell of a performer, and that's what got him the win.
Yep.
And honestly, it was a good match. To be perfectly honest, I would not have put the second personally, but that's me because the next match after that felt a little more like it should have been the second match.
Well, that and it's looking at the pairing, it's a little weird. Mason with a non-chili boy.
Well, they called it the Chili Dragons.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So is he official?
I have no idea. I'm going to be perfectly honest. But yeah.
I mean, it can be official if you think of it that way, in a sense.
Yeah.
Every member of Kiss went off and did a solo album. The Beatles had solo
True.
albums. Sometimes you just got to collab. Sometimes,
Yeah.
artists collab with other artists all the time. It's
That is true.
Yeah.
So you have the Chili Dragons, you have the Chili Boys, which are the mainstay. Then you have your Sam's Cola Chili Dragons.
All right.
Yeah.
It's okay.
That works.
And they meshed well.
Yeah.
They meshed very well together.
Oh yeah, actually, no, they did a really good job together. They come from the same school, and that gives them a lot of chemistry together. And they took on the Sons of Mayhem, of course, that guy Red Chambers, the Judge Jake Lindsay, with Nasty Nick Nash in their corner, and of course, the numbers game in the long run did not work out for Mason and Dragon Astral.
Well, no, and it as well as it shouldn't. I mean, you're looking, like I've said before, Sons of Mayhem is something that the tag tournament was weird to me because it's like should have been pushing them, and they were eliminated really quick. But then with the addition of Nick, it looks like we're back on that track, and I like that. And I'm obviously huge fans of them individually, but as a group, and with the loss of civil disorder, so to speak, we need that faction. MPX, if you look at the history, has always had a dominant faction to kind of run the place, and it looks like Sons of Mayhem may be that one, coming up.
They seem to be definitely trying to work their way up, but of course they've also got like the boys and Richard to contend with on that. And oh, hello,
Yeah, but that's a tag team. I wouldn't really say that's the faction.
with their third member, and of course Richard involved and everything like that. You could almost consider it a faction,
Maybe.
especially if they got that third member to actually able to start, get in the ring and wrestle.
Yeah. I think the faction warfare thing has kind of always been a thing that since it started probably in the early 70s on into the late 80s where it kind of died off, and then the 90s came around, New World Order came around, and now in independent scenes you start to see these little factions pop up, and they do a big run for anywhere between 6 months to a year, and they just grow.
Yep.
Some of them stick around for a lot longer than that.
Mm-hmm.
And those particular ones, you have an example. You have this tag team of Mason Price and Dragon Astral. Okay, we've seen, in wrestling, you've always seen two guys that have kind of adverse styles paired enough, and then they'll take that they'll blow that ship out the water. They really will.
Oh yeah.
But then you have a dynamic tag team, kind of like Red Chambers and Jake Lindsay, which is to me is like Shawn Michaels and Diesel. If you look at it, and those guys are tough.
Yep.
And honestly, by the way, shout out to Red Chambers and Jake Lindsay. Congratulations on your victory the other night. Even though I can't say that, I can't say that in the arena, but because I'm on the clock, I have to be unbiased. I have to be an unbiased official. I have to draw a line somewhere. But thank you guys. I really appreciate y'all.
That's the thing about this one. We're less our characters on this show, so we can actually sit there and say,
What character?
I'm a total
Travis
mark.
is Travis.
Are you calling me a character? You're right about that.
But no, I do look forward to seeing this match when it's put up on the network because Mason Price has always been great in the ring, one of the best sellers. And I can just imagine, him and Red probably had great chemistry against each other, and then also him and Jake just being the really big guy to toss him around.
Yeah.
Seems like it'd be great.
Oh, geez. Yeah, Jake throwing everybody around in that match was pretty incredible.
The one thing I can't wait for, and I know it's still new, and I know it'll happen eventually, but getting Nick in there, either Red and Nick or Nick and Jake, those matchups and everything like that, I think is going to be really great.
Definitely. I want to see more of the. I mean, honestly, when I'm looking at this match, and it's like I cannot remember exactly because I think something had caught my attention, but I don't remember if there was a dirty finish or a clean finish. It's like honestly, in the end, I think this should have been a clean finish.
It's nasty Nick, so it's always going to be nasty, right? But no, I do like the idea of hopefully. When like this week they've already said Sons of Mayhem versus Stackhouse and Casey, and I'm pretty sure they showed the graphic of Jake and Red.
Yeah.
I really hope we start doing graphics where it's all three of them and the opponents don't know. It's kind of like Freeburg rule. They just go in and then all of a sudden two of them will start. Like if we could do that, I think that'd be really interesting, really cool.
Yeah, definitely. But yeah, Sons of Mayhem coming away with the win on that one. like they're getting honestly, they are getting stronger. They're getting better at the mixing it up and everything like that. And they're gonna turn out to be a pretty strong team, faction, or anything like that. Ooh, of course, there is also one other faction they're gonna have to keep out of the way of for a little while. The Hardacus, the Lost
No, that
Boys,
was
the Crypt.
Hardacus has gone away again, so it's fine.
For now.
Yeah,
For now.
until something happens and they need him, they'll revive him and bring him back out.
Yeah, we'll see.
He's our taker. He'll do an appearance every now and then.
I hope they don't bring him back. He scares me.
Scared you? He scared me. He came up behind me once. I was like, "Oh God!"
There's not many a wrestler that I'm scared of. That one scares me.
As well, he should. But then after that, we had the match between Tommy Becker and the true hero Casey Clay. Casey Clay coming off of the just honestly the back and forth that he and Tommy Becker have had since Call Your Shot last year.
Yeah.
And the fact that Casey's never been able to beat him.
Nope.
And usually it was because there was some kind of intervention for whether it was Jamie, Brent, Mike
Frankie.
Fox, Frankie.
Yeah.
No, I don't think Frankie wasn't involved in.
I thought one of them was
No,
Frankie Music Kid,
it was
and
Tommy.
then he got distracted.
It was Tommy and.
Oh, that was Tommy Dean. That's right.
Tommy Dean.
Yeah.
And yeah.
Casey's got good feuds. It's hard to.
No,
and they're both
Ca-
Tommies.
Casey's had some really good feuds, to be perfectly honest. And honestly, I'd put Tommy Becker up there as a possible feud of the year.
Well, it's it's hockey boys and hockey fights. It's great.
Exactly. We love hockey fights. And of course, Becker each time is like, no. No. This is a wrestling match.
I was gonna say, I feel like out of all the people we know that played hockey, Tommy is the one to be like, no, I didn't do fights. I was the fucking player. I was the skill player. Dimitri and Casey, they're the ones that were the enforcers.
Everybody else did the fights so I could score the goals. That's what the point was.
He was Mike Modano, where everyone protected him.
Yep. But this was a hell of a fight. I mean, when I say a hell of a fight, I really mean a hell of a fight because it was honestly kind of a culmination match.
Yep.
Even though, quote unquote, Tommy has more wins than the whole shebang, Casey finally getting a victory.
Well,
and a good victory.
And granted, this may not be the end, obviously, because they're both young and they have good chemistry, so I would love to see them fight again. But it's like one of my favorite things that stuck out was WrestleMania 19 with Austin and Rock. Yeah. Rock cut that promo where he goes, everyone remembers the last one. Everyone remembers the third act. No one cares about the other. No. And that's the one where Rock won. You're like, oh, okay, yeah. So in the end, technically, Rock won that battle against Austin.
Yeah.
Like, even though he lost the majority of the matches, he got the last one, therefore he won. So.
Yeah. And it's only, weird, people who keep track of continuity and stuff like that for far too freaking long. That pay attention. Yeah. People like me, in which I'm sitting here going, well, if you remember about 4 years ago, this happened. It's like, and it's like, I'll get a message from the boss saying, I didn't even think about that.
Right.
What the hell?
It's good to have continuity, though.
Yes.
It's always good to have continuity because you want to have something to reference on.
Yeah.
And a lot of times, even when you go to other promotions, and there is that same continuity there. And it's a rule in any indie show that you're at. If you are a tag team on one show, you don't go to the next show to work as a tag team. You just don't do it because there are going to be people that go to every single show in North Texas, every single one, and they're going to pop up. Well, hang on a second. They're fans, super fans. They'll go see you.
Or if nothing else, as we've seen on certain people's Facebook pages and things like that, you'll see, a poster in which, wait a minute, they broke up as a tag team. What the hell? The multiverse is weird, guys.
Well,
yeah,
that's another thing of this tape. It's like when you do something somewhere, you got to do it somewhere else as well. It's got to follow in strain.
Yeah,
so it will be announced other places, but then again, sometimes that type of continuity doesn't flow over with the same show that you're going into after leaving another one. It's got to have the same thing. But back in the 90s, like the guys that are traveling in wrestling, they'll do the same match over and over and over again with a little variants here and there, and they'll tell the same story, and then they'll do it on TV the following week.
Yep.
That way, basically, they practiced the entire match that you see on TV, live TV, so they can start over.
Right.
Basically, Monday's the Sunday.
Yep.
Yeah.
Monday's the Sunday pay-per-view, and they're just practicing to get there.
Yeah, and that's actually one of the reasons going to something completely different. When Magnificent Malakos started doing the thing with his leg, his prosthetic leg and everything,
Which
like
I
that.
never would have seen that coming.
It's like when he did it that first time with Fuego, then he did it again with Lou Lugatti somewhere else, and then he did it. He was gonna. It almost looked like he was gonna do it here at MPX. On the one hand, I'm like, this makes sense. This is how things used to get done because not everybody was at every show, so they couldn't see what happened that first time. So they need that surprise. They deserve to have that surprise themselves. But now we have the internet where, it's like we saw that video of Fuego del Sol and Magnificent Malakos. So if he had done it a third time at MPX in his match against, I think it was against Tommy.
I think so.
Yeah. It's like if he had done it like pretty much the exact same way again, it would have been like, okay, we've seen this already.
Right.
This is all over the internet, dude.
And I talked about it, and I was like, I hope they don't. And they did it, but they did it different, and it worked. Like, it was great.
Yeah.
And that's the thing, like you were talking about multiverse and everything like that, and it is 2022 wrestling is so weird compared to, like, if you've watched wrestling like I have from the 80s and 90s and everything like that. It's so different because, case in point, like when Dango came, I was like, because we were even talking about it, I was like, I don't know if he's a face or heel because he's done face here, he's done heel here. He can go either way. And then immediately, as soon as he came in, we knew right then, oh, okay, he's pretty much a face. Cool. Like, it's, it's one of those where it is enjoyable. Like, there's a show coming up, VIP. Brian Cage is coming in. He's technically a heel, but every time he's been at VIP, he's a face. So it's like, oh, what are we going to do? It's going to be interesting.
Yeah. We'll see what happens, yeah. But, this whole thing, going back to the match.
Yeah, Tommy and Casey. It's great.
But yeah, Tommy and Casey, great match. Casey Clay coming away with the win, finally.
Yeah, it finally kind of getting that monkey off his back. And as we've seen ever since Casey has come back from his knee injury, he's got one thing on his mind, and that's trying to work back up to get that MPX title.
It's like first thing that happens as soon as Exodus Prime posts is like, hey, and your new MPX champion, Casey Clay's first response is, hey, yo, man, you got my belt.
Exactly, and that's the thing I was going to get to is I really can't wait because we've seen it before, but man, Exodus and Casey is going to be a great match if that's what we build to and get to.
And honestly, thinking about it, it's like if you're talking about who's got the most potential towards that, Casey is very high up on that list of people that could potentially go up against Exodus Prime and be a credible threat. But then again, given what happened in the main event, I don't know if anybody's really a credible threat. So we'll see.
Right.
But yeah, then we had a triple threat match in which Zero took on Brixton Shaw, the Ultra Ego. He now has a moniker, Ultra Ego.
And I felt like last time he was here, they said that, and I even leaned over. I was like, did they call him the Ultra Ego? And I was like, that's weird, but also I like it. Like, it makes sense. It's kind of cool.
Yeah, no, to be perfectly honest, I misheard Cody when he was saying it, and I thought he said 16 stone. I'm like, oh, he's just giving his weight like normal, so I didn't think anything of it. And then somebody finally pointed out, it's like, no, it's Ultra Ego.
Yep.
Like, oh.
Yeah, which I like that.
Yeah, and that fits for Brixton Shaw. And, of course, if we're talking about Ego, we also have the highlight of the night, Joe Angelo Garcia, in this match.
No, the other one. I like the other one better.
The Hispanic Casa Pan.
There you go.
Yeah.
Love that one. No, it was, I really, like, I hate missing MPX in general, but I hate missing when there's guys there I really like that aren't there a lot, like Joe. I love watching Joe because he's one of those that no matter who he's in the ring with, it's always so smooth looking. Like, really, he looks so good in the ring.
And honestly, when you've got opponents along the lines of Brixton Shaw and Zero, he's, that smoothness is very apparent because you've got Brixton Shaw, who's got very much a brawler, is like a kind of a boxer almost.
Yeah.
It's that taped fist match.
Yeah,
it's like perfect for him.
It's that roughneck, strong style kind of from Japan. Like, and even on our show, he talked about it. That's what he wants to do more and more. And like, I saw this on the print, and I was like, oh, that's a great match. Brixton won. And then I see the result, and I go, oh, wait, what? That's a little shocking.
Yeah, no, and it's like with, Zero, with the absolute rough style that he uses, where, that that bar brawling style of his, coming away with the win on this one. And I'm pretty sure, like, I'm 99.9% sure that he pinned Brixton for that.
That's really crazy.
Yeah, which is the craziest part of it all. But
that's a former MPX champion.
Yeah, exactly. But Zero is former MPX Addicts champion, so it gives him a little bit of an up, I guess. I don't know. But yeah, no, Zero coming away with the win on this one just in general. I mean, the crowd came unglued. It's almost as if they like watching Zero win.
Who likes Zero? Come on.
I know, right? God.
He only gets one of the loudest reactions. That's weird.
I love Zero.
We're gonna
I
get
guy.
yelled at again.
I love that guy. That
Oh,
guy
yeah.
is one of the coolest guys that
Yes.
I've ever met in my entire life. I've known him for so long, and he is actually one of the better guys that, you know, he goes in there, he does his job, and he comes home. He does. Him picking up a victory that night, just I can only imagine what he felt after.
Oh, yeah.
After all he's been through in the last year or so, and it's just I can only imagine that must have made him feel good.
Oh, yeah. And
That's
it's great
right.
to see
That's
Zero
right,
there.
Greg. I almost forgot about that because I didn't write that down. I can't remember exactly when it was, but at some point, as we saw after the attack at the Purge, Ernie Pruitt, the new boss, reinstated JD Griffey to active roster of Metroplex
I was going to say, wait,
Wrestling.
we can't talk about that name, but then, okay, yeah.
Yeah.
He been reinstated, I guess we can.
And at this show, he basically called out JD and said, I'll see you in the ring. And of course,
okay.
Palmer, Ernie called him out.
Yeah.
Yeah. And of course, Palmer's like, this is stupid. This is a stupid idea. You had him fired. You had him barred from the building. This is dumb. Don't do this. And well, Palmer was right.
He's been fired and barred from the building. We saw at the Purge. That didn't really matter to JD.
Well, okay, but that was the Purge, though. So, they couldn't really do anything against that. And now they could have,
Yeah, but you can't say that. Now you're going to have at the next Purge all these fans jumping their back. You can't say that.
Well, we've seen what happens when fans jump the barricade. They get the crap kicked out
One of my favorite videos is Kevin Steen.
yeah.
I think it was PWG. He or it wasn't PWG because there was an actual barricade. Goaded someone. The guy's talking trash, and Kevin Steen's like, "Come on." So the guy got in the ring. Kevin Steen kicked the shit out of his head. I was like, "Holy fuck!"
Yeah. It's like, seriously,
know your place. Stay on the other side.
JD is a special case. He is the king of MPX, and it's like he does what the
Definitely
hell he
can't
wants.
say that anymore.
Yeah, don't step in my ring while I'm in there.
Yeah.
I it will not go well for you.
Yeah.
I don't look like much. I don't look like half these guys on our roster, but I guarantee you it's more than you want.
We've seen you've got a deadly stunner. We've seen it.
Yeah, definitely.
I got a Morse punch. I just don't use it.
But going back to the event, Ernie came out to the ring, called out JD. JD's music hit like 3 times.
Yeah.
And he didn't come out. And, of course, when that kind of thing happens, of course, I'm looking like at the door.
You're looking over your shoulder like,
it's
shit.
happened one too many times for me not to catch on. But, and of course, JD comes out, jumps the barricade, and hits Ernie from behind, handcuffs him to the ring ropes, and is about to just start beating the snot out of him with a chair. Then out comes Matthew Palmer, who, just that right cross. Holy crap. Like, there was follow-through on that. That is just...
No,
bam!
And that was, I didn't get to talk about it because I wasn't here for the Purge recap. Outside, man, JD and Palmer were throwing bombs. I was like, holy shit.
Man,
Like, that was the one time I was actually like, because we were sitting there and, of course, they come over and they're like, move. And I was like, fuck this shit. I went outside. I was like, I'm getting out of this.
Yeah.
And they were still outside throwing shit. I'm like, oh, fuck, this is intense. Like, it's very weird and different for me with wrestling because it's always a work or whatever. That was one that didn't feel like a work. I was like, oh my God.
Yeah. No, and like I said, the fight between Palmer and JD on this one, JD got the upper hand and was just basically beating the snot out of Palmer for the rest of the time with the chair. And he comes out and says, "It's like I'm here, and everybody's on notice. It's a shoot on everybody."
Right.
And
I mean, that's honestly, JD's a scary man, and I don't think people realize it because we talked about like Hardakis.
Yeah.
Everyone's scared of Hardakis. Everyone should be scared of someone more like JD than Hardakis, to be honest, because JD can do literally whatever he wants.
yeah, I was like, how did he
can
put
knock
it?
you, nap, tap, or snap. Like he can do it all.
My favorite is his thing saying, "I'll fold his clothes with him still in them."
Right.
But yeah, no, it's honestly, I'm wondering how this is going to go because obviously there's, I'm pretty sure that Matthew Palmer is eventually going to, get his ups.
And
I guess.
then that's the thing. Palmer's no slouch either. I've
Yeah.
seen Palmer he even talked about it on our show with ACW. Palmer can do some hardcore shit, and Palmer is. He may not look like much. No offense to Palmer. He may not look like much, but the guy's pretty vicious when he wants to be.
He is very vicious, actually. Very, very vicious. In ACW, if you've ever seen, I'm sure you have, any of the things that he's done in that ring with anybody would scares half the people that were probably in the back as well.
Yes.
It's tough to actually have a no canvas, bare boards match, and that's not something that's fun. It's not.
He in San Antonio, he had an Iron Man match, or no, it wasn't him. It was him and Barrett. Never mind. But no, I've seen bareboard matches with Palmer, and that's something you don't fuck with. And I've seen Palmer in hardcore matches, and the amount of blood that he will draw of his opponent, and it's one of those two. Palmer's got that attitude when he's in the ring and he's in that, and that switch is flipped. He's not give a fuck about his own body. He will throw it with disregard, much like Silver all the time. Just Palmer knows when to and when not to.
Yeah. Silver just does it.
Yeah, Silver he's immortal, so he just does it whenever.
But yeah, I'm not sure exactly where this is going to go.
But you also have to take into consideration, too, that J.D. Grippy is a trained fighter.
Yes.
He is the type of person that is trained to wait for his opening and then strike when his victim is most vulnerable.
Yeah.
He exploits the weaknesses, and he even attacks the strengths.
Yeah.
That's one thing about him that stands out amongst all the other guys on the roster, is that he knows what to do and when to do it.
Yes.
And, sure, everybody, can have... During the course of a match, I'm not saying he's invincible. What I am trying to say is that he's a very good wrestler. He's one of the best on the roster. He's been around. Shoot, I think I repped his first match back a long time ago.
Wow,
and that tells you how long he and I go back. And I'll tell you, from seeing from where he went, where he came, where he started at, to where he's become, and I've seen parts of his trail up to this point, and where he's going right now.
Yes,
is probably the highlight of his entire career at this point. And I hope he does get the chance to do more with what he's doing right now, and we get to see more of him. However, with the situation that's going on between Matt and Mr. Pruitt, and also with JD, it's kind of a situation where even for me as an official, my hands are tied.
Yeah.
I'm kind of there just to placate.
I mean, it's like Nicholas came out and Carl came out, and they tried, but JD was like, "I dare you to get in the ring."
No, Nick wasn't there. Remember?
Bizarro Nick. Rick was
but,
there. Yeah.
And that's the other thing. Like to Travis's point, JD is smart. Like even outside when they were throwing bombs, JD's on the ground. Palmer knocked him down. He's on his back, and JD's sitting there like, "Come on," because he knows if Palmer goes to the ground, it's over. But again, Palmer's smart enough to be like, "No, I know that trick. Fuck you."
Yeah. So like he was about ready to go. JD was about ready to go to the Guardian position, and Matt's like, "No."
Exactly.
No.
And I think that's the other thing too is let's be honest, they've worked each other so many times. They know each other.
Yeah.
I mean, they are at one point good friends, now not, and that chemistry that is there it's unmatched. Like they know each other way too well to fall into stupid traps like that.
Oh yeah. But yeah, that was just one of the exciting things that happened, and like I said, I'm really interested to see where this is going to go, because this is going to be pretty intense. Then we had the penultimate match of the night, the MPX Addicts Championship match, as the Mad Prince was going to be taking on, honestly, I think one of his toughest opponents yet to date, in like the few defenses he's actually made. He's used to taking on the good guys, the guys like Mikey B and other heroes, people who play by the rules. Matlock, like I said on Mainline, is not a good guy.
No, that's very true.
He gives no.
I mean, anyone who
craps.
hates Tommy Dean as much as he does cannot be a good guy.
Exactly. But it's like, so Matlock, the all-star Matlock, got in that ring fully intending to hurt Tommy Prince, and he mostly achieved that.
Well, yeah, I'm pretty sure he even posted he was going to kick his spine into the front row. So
He was about ready to kick it straight over to the girls.
One of them probably would have grabbed it. So.
Oh yeah, true. But no, it's like I fully believed that this match was about to go very, very badly for the Metro Prince.
Well, and it's one of those where, we talk about how strong and how strong style Matlock is and how physical he is. Mad Prince is physical too. We've heard that. Even his fucking hugs are strong.
And he put up a hell of a fight. But honestly, like I said, Matlock, not a good guy.
Yeah.
He may be buddies with Mikey Barker or Mikey B, but it's what his Facebook says. And I said every time that pops up, my brain tries to edit. But, he may be buddies with Mikey B, but he's not a good guy.
and let's be honest.
He doesn't play by the rules.
We're just waiting until that friendship dissolves, right? Like it's bound to happen.
I think what we're going to get, you ever see a Young Frankenstein?
Of course.
At the end where Frankenstein and the monster, they trade brains a little bit. It's going to go like that.
So you're thinking Mikey's going to get more vicious and more on Matlock's level?
Yeah.
Okay.
I
that
think,
could be interesting.
Yeah. And, Matlock's going to learn to dance.
Yeah.
I don't think that's going to happen.
No, I don't think the dance part happened. I could see Mikey getting a little more vicious, but I don't know about.
No, I just don't want to see Matlock dance.
Oh.
There's no. He can't dance.
Are you sure?
He can't even get a haircut.
No, he last time he tried to get a haircut, he bled all over the ring.
Like I said on Moonlight, man, guy's got a hard head. It bleeds a lot, but he's got a hard head.
Yeah, definitely. But it, like I said, it was going very south, very fast for the Mad Prince, and so of course Hilda brought out the insurance of the Duke of Rugged, Gabe Wilder.
I thought you were supposed to say that name.
Yeah.
Oh,
What happened?
Oh well. Yeah.
Oh well, all right.
That's one next week.
I'll get beat up on Saturday. Yeah. Oh wait.
Oh, that's okay. That means you'll just get two next
Yeah,
week.
I'll just get a couple more later. But it's like brought out the insurance of the Rugged Gabe Wilder, and honestly, it's like it even looked like that wasn't going to go very well for him because, of course, as soon as Gabe Wilder comes out, Mikey B comes out and starts brawling with Gabe to try and nullify that.
Because I was about to say, because that note wasn't there. I was like, oh, did Matlock's friend not come out?
Yeah,
but,
no,
okay, no, it did.
Mikey
Okay,
B came out and nullified that, but because of that, the ref was distracted and didn't see the buzzard come and swoop down and attack again. That headbutt you were talking about,
yes,
that came into play there, and it came into play hard.
So is this a new member of the little faction?
I don't know.
That would be interesting.
I think the buzzard is just he's doing his own thing.
I mean, if Gabe is a duke, Tommy could be like a earl, right? Like isn't that how the
count
hierarchy
Baron?
works? Yeah.
Oh, the Baron of Buzzards.
There you go.
There we go. Yeah. But, Tommy Bolton just headbutting Matlock, putting him down.
Yeah, Daddy Hill likes to adopt a lot of people, right?
Yeah.
So.
Allowing the Mad Prince to, end things for the All-Star and pick up the win and retain that championship.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Which,
so,
is going to happen.
Yeah.
It's going to happen. I mean, you kind of... you can look at the things on paper and kind of understand what's going to happen. Okay, so we got Matlock. We already know who he's got in his corner. Of course, Mad Prince has got his whole family in his corner.
Yep.
It's only a matter of time before we're going to see something go down, but we want to see how it turns out.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And behold, look what happens.
Oh, yeah. And, of course, with Tommy Bolton in the mix, I think he's more of a wild card than anything else. I think he just really, because as he said on Mainline, he was trying to get Matlock's attention, and he's pretty sure he got it this time.
Pretty sure he got it too.
Yeah.
Hi, Carl.
But, yeah, so, of course, that all leads into the main event, which... This was match of the night, hands down.
Yeah,
it was just a glorious fight between these two. Barrett Brown being, he's the king of Texas for a reason, and
it's one of those, Exodus when he came on Mainline after he won the title, he said he wants people he has not fought or beat before, and having Barrett be the first challenger for his MPX title to kick off his title reign, like we talked about a little bit earlier, that's amazing. That's one. It's amazing that match even happened in general, and I really hate that I missed it.
Just,
but also the fact that it's like you said, it was a great match, and Exodus came out on top and came out on top clean. Like that's
no,
not many people can say that against Barrett.
It's like honestly, even the last guy who says, "Oh, I pinned him in the ring," can't say he pinned him clean, and everything. Exodus went out there, after already having been attacked by Barrett Brown earlier in the night. I mean, that knee is nothing to joke about.
No.
He took on Barrett Brown in a full match, and he stood tall at the end of it. He stood tall with that championship, and basically, honestly, love him or hate him, he is definitely our champion.
No, and I mean we've been calling for it ever since he was the Addicts champion. Like he should have been. Granted it was a fan vote, so I get it, but he was Wrestler of the Year. Exodus has gone out there and had amazing match after amazing match, no matter who his opponent is. I really do believe, and yeah, it's a cliche, but Exodus could go out there against a plastic bag and make it look amazing. Exodus is that good, and one of my favorite clips, the clips I've seen so far, was Barrett's hook kick, the Murafuji hook kick.
Yeah.
Oh my God, that looked amazing.
It looked amazing.
Oh yeah, and honestly, when it comes down to it, if Exodus needed to prove himself, he just did. Nobody can deny it.
Well, and it's one of those, like, yes, this is a great way to start the title reign, and it definitely cements Exodus. Where the hell do you go now after that?
That is a good question. That's why I was talking about how it's like, I don't know, with Casey Clay maybe at the top of the, towards the top of the ladder of people who could possibly challenge Exodus Prime. But
it's also like X said, he doesn't want to fight people he's already beat. So
I don't know. I mean, there's a guy who, he fought when he was MPX Addicts champion that he didn't beat. Mr. Fun. But of course, Remedy has his own target right now.
Yeah, there's a leading man he wants to kill.
Oh, yeah. After that whole thing with Michael Schaefer, Remedy is about ready to kill him.
Yeah, but after the glitter incident, I don't know if Remedy's going to be allowed back for a while.
We'll see. But
and
yeah.
you let that happen.
Yeah.
You didn't stop that at
It
all.
was the purge. It was the purge. He can't stop it. Come on.
I still have glitter in my car. God damn it.
But we've also got this week, we've got Summer Stunners, the last show of July. And the match lineup here is just amazing. And considering that, according to everything we've seen, we've got no champions in the building.
At the moment, we don't. But also, I mean, it's it's called Summer Stunners. You're going to be there, right?
Oh, yeah.
Are you? Is that the reason it's called that? Is this your show?
It might be. It might be.
There we go. All right, cool.
Yeah. But but we've still got an incredible night. Because Mikey B is going to be taking on Tommy Bolton again. Matlock's going to be involved in this.
Maybe. What if Locke's not there? What if Locke is preoccupied or busy, or what if he's still
I don't
recovering
know.
from that
It's
headbutt?
like if he gets a chance to get his hands on Tommy Bolton again, I'm pretty sure he's going to take it.
Yeah.
If he has to drive, wrestle a match somewhere else and then drive to MPX just to get his hands on Tommy Bolton, I'm pretty sure he'll do it.
True.
I mean, this is the guy who drove one night to be able to spend an hour and a half talking about how much he hates Tommy Dean, and then drove back.
That is very true. So we'll see.
This is a man who will go the extra mile, literally, for what he wants.
I have not said a thing about Dimitri. What are you talking about?
What?
James, you're totally right. Nobody has ever done that.
No, I have not said anything bad about you, Dimitri. I love you.
Uh-oh. Is Dimitri going to kill you again?
Apparently, Jesus.
Yeah.
I mean, you probably have a comment. That's all right.
He is the saint of hardcore.
always
You have
do.
to,
That is true.
Yeah. But, so I'm looking forward to that one. Normally, I'm not a big fan of repeat matches.
Especially the very next week, and that was one thing I was going to get to, which, I mean, I'm excited for because
You
I
get to
wasn't
see it
there, so
finally.
I get to see it. But it is very weird to have a repeat that quick. So I guess we'll see.
It's probably going to be a good one anyway.
Oh, yeah. Oh, of course.
Everybody gets to say, everybody needs to have that. Make sure that feud goes on for a little while,
Mhm.
and it's gonna be a banger. It's really gonna be a
Well,
banger.
Absolutely.
And like I had said earlier, I like Tommy Bolton. I would love to see him back more and more. So, yeah, I'm excited for it.
Yep. We're also going to have Chris Carter making
Yeah.
his
I'm sorry.
Honestly, it's like I think this is the first time he's actually going to be just in a singles one-on-one match at MPX.
The only time we saw him was Aztec Warfare, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's like he was in Aztec Warfare last year, but now he's going to be in a one-on-one match against the reincarnation of excellence, Kari Wright. So Civil Disorder still represented.
Yeah.
So even with the multiverse being weird,
It happens, but this is on paper should be a really good match. Kari is one of those, much like Exodus. Most people he's in the ring with, he has great chemistry automatically.
Yeah.
And Kari Wright, like I've said before several times, I like seeing him more and more because you see how good he actually is. Like, yes, you originally started it as a joke where he was the coattail rider and all that shit with Civil Disorder, but he's coming into his own the more and more we see him, and it's phenomenal.
Honestly, he's been given more and more opportunities, and he's been forced to bring himself up to a higher level with members of Civil Disorder steadily leaving the group, and now tonight or this Saturday he's going to be the only member of Civil Disorder.
Well, yeah, and they lost the glue, so it's kind of weird to still call them
even
Civil
he's
Disorder.
not going to be there, so
Yeah, true.
But he's going to have to go up against somebody who is tearing it up over Texas, and I don't know how this is going to go for him, but this could go either way.
Yeah.
I think this match may put both guys on the map as they really are, because they're not going to be having anybody in their corner. That no one's pushing them to do certain things. That they're out there for themselves.
Yep.
Kari Wright is untapped potential.
Yes.
There's a lot behind that man that we have not seen, and I guarantee you we'll all be surprised when we do. And Chris Carter being there, it's only a matter of time before we see what kind of potential that may be.
Oh yeah, definitely. It's like he could. I mean, like with Tommy Bolton, we saw him once before, and it didn't seem like it was going to be anything more than a one-off. But he's starting to make waves in MPX. We could see the same with Chris Carter,
Right.
especially if he goes and beats Kari Wright, former member of the MPX Tag Team Champions. But yeah, that's going to be. Billy Joe Armstrong post-retirement from Green Day. Wow.
Oh my God.
I always thought Chris Carter was what happens when you take the growing mushroom away from Jason Silver.
Nobody can hear me apparently.
Can't hear what? Should be able to hear him. Just
They said it was low, but I thought you.
Can you hear me?
turned it up.
Yeah, I'm low.
yeah. So go ahead and turn him up a little more.
Y'all are just now telling us that.
7 is good.
They mentioned it before, but
Well,
it
yeah,
was,
but I thought you turned it up.
I did.
Yeah, I reached over and turned it up.
Okay. Dimitri says.
Testing 1, 2. Okay, now they can hear me.
Yeah, there we go.
But yes, the next match I'm super excited for. Because what is it again?
It is. It's a hockey fight.
It's a hockey fight.
It needs to be a hockey fight.
It is the bear fight.
This is-
Dmitry Alexandrov.
Come on, hockey jerseys, hockey sticks. Do a full hockey fight.
yes.
Let's do it.
Tony Romo would be proud.
Yes. Bring out RHS.
Yes. Versus the Tommy Becker, and this is going to be
So,
a heck
Greg?
of a match. I mean, you've got two wildly different styles, but honestly, it's going to put both of those styles, as
I mean, if
Against
this
each
was,
other.
this was the late 90s, we would have a hockey stick on a pole match. Just saying, it would be great.
definitely. Now they're saying it's way too loud.
Make up
Seriously?
y'all's mind.
Seriously.
Do you want to hear Travis or not? Take your pick.
So turn it down to 6.
No, leave it at 7. I'll just back up. That'll
Okay,
be
that
a
works
little bit better.
Because
I'm too close.
This fight, ooh, boy. Yes, no, we want the hockey team faction, man. It's going to happen eventually.
Yeah, there's enough wrestlers that are, so it's great. Just don't do the full goon. Don't come out in hockey skates, because that's weird. I never understood how he actually
They can
wrestled
be,
in
James.
those.
I'm just wondering
Fickle.
how the hell he didn't destroy the canvas every match.
Well, because they weren't actual skates, but I mean, it was just weird how he walked on them.
Yeah,
It was,
true.
What was it, Bill Irwin? I think was the guy.
think so.
Portrayed the goon.
The goon, yeah. It was
Yeah,
Bill
was
Orton.
Yeah.
It was strange.
Yeah.
And the way he walked was weird, too.
Well, and that's the thing, because his boots were like hockey skate. It was fucking weird.
Yeah.
But I did love how he started the match, throwing the gloves and going after him. It was great.
Oh, yeah. Just straight out, like right into a hockey fight.
Exactly.
I like Courtney's idea. Roller skates, just roll around swinging.
Yeah, definitely can't do that in the canvas ring.
No.
That would end badly.
Richter's comment though.
What?
Judy Bagwell on a pole.
Yes. Judy Bagwell on a pole.
Oh my god.
This is a family-friendly show.
Since fucking when?
Right?
You know how hard it is to get her up on that pole? We had to pay her money.
Yeah. So this is
Don't tell me where she put it.
This is going to be a pretty incredible match, but it's also the next match.
Oh
the tag
shit,
team
Richter
match.
actually wrestled Bill Irwin. Cool.
Yeah, he did.
Nice.
Yeah.
Oh, you were there?
No, I wasn't there.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, it's like the tag team match that was announced. The Sons of Mayhem taking on Sam Stackhouse and his good buddy Casey Clay.
Which is cool teams. I really do hope, because let's be honest, Sam's about 2 people, so can that be 3-on-2? Like, can we not get all 3 Sons of Mayhem in this against Sam and Casey? That would be amazing.
You know, last time they tried to do that, Sam was still, pretty much destroyed.
No, he does. I mean, it's
And then it got
it
the
evens a
boss pissed
little.
off.
It evens it a little bit, but not a lot.
Nick Nash will be involved one way or the other.
I hope so.
Maybe.
I was gonna say if you're in there, I guess not. Right?
Maybe. I mean, I'm really looking forward to seeing this match.
Yeah.
As a fan, I don't know if I'll be officiating the match or not, but I do know that being there to watch that and watch. Of course, Tommy. Of course, with Tommy Becker and Dmitry Alexandrov, Sons of Mayhem, Sam Stackhouse and Casey Clay. You got Chris Carter Wright. You got Mikey B versus Tommy Bolton. It's gonna be a good show.
Oh, yeah.
It's gonna be a great show. It's not. With Sam Stackhouse being there, it'd probably be a barn burner. You never know. But I mean, in a good way. In a good way.
Yes.
So we're probably gonna sell the roof off that place, and hopefully that we go into the following week with much more enthusiasm.
Right.
Oh yeah.
Which,
I'm looking forward
since
to
you did run down the card, just
Yeah.
as a ref,
Yes.
pick one. Which one do you want to ref the most?
The most?
Yes.
Honestly, the tag match. Obviously, I want to do Sons of Mayhem and Sam Stackhouse and Casey Clay, mainly because there's.
He wants a chance to be able to stun Nick Nash.
Yes, I do. I want to shoot him with his own water pistol. That's what I want to do.
That's what you
But
get.
That's what I wanna
it's hot
do.
in that building. You need to get the little sprints right.
I get thirsty quick. You know how hard I get dry mouth in there and I don't say anything about it? It's really bad.
So what you're saying is we need to get those super soakers that we saw at Walmart.
We need to get those misters that they have outside bars in the in the little Maui areas,
Just point him in towards the ring. Watch everybody.
Just set up the garden hose.
Nobody's on the ropes,
set up the garden hose. The little spritzers on the outside of them.
Yes.
Instead of it's just like what it was Kane
slip
versus
and slide
like
match.
Kane versus Taker. There was the fire match. No, the sprinklers go off. No water. I'm melting. No, I'm not. Yes. Let's do that.
Yeah.
Wouldn't the canvas be a little slick then? Wouldn't it be a little hard?
You shut your dirty mouth.
I'm sorry.
said,
I'm sorry. I forgot. I forgot the #1 rule. Don't bring logic in the wrestling.
Yes.
God.
No. I was gonna say it's a slip and slide match. Come on. Somebody slides into the ring and then accidentally slides out the other side.
Yeah, Rey Mysterio does that.
That makes it
all the
easy
time.
for me to count pins if I have to run in. Ah,
I was gonna say I see you just sliding across 1, 2, 3 on the way.
Well,
all the way
landed
through
here.
outside.
Yeah, I'll go over the guardrail, land in your lap. Right in that corner area. Here I come. There I go.
Oh, that would be
I
pretty
love
fun.
you, Dimitri.
Yeah, and Dimitri's just being stunning Steve Austin, stun gun, and then Stone Cold. Oh, jeez.
Nice. That would be great, actually.
That would.
Why did Austin never do that? That would have been a great.
And then after the stunner, I put him to sleep with the $1 million dream. That's exactly what I need to do.
That would have been a great sequence. Why did Austin never do that?
Yeah.
Stun gun someone, turn him into the stunner. Great.
Well, it did happen at WrestleMania against The Rock.
Yeah, technically.
One of
Bring
those
that back
callback
up.
moments.
He
for him.
did do the stun gun.
Yeah, true.
Turn him around and in the stunner, and that's what happened.
Apparently, you broke in half the last time you slid in a ring.
I break in half just trying to. I break in half just trying to get out of bed.
Yeah.
I feel that.
Definitely feel that.
My body snap crackles and pops more than Rice Krispies.
Yeah.
But I do it for the kiddies. I do it for the children's. All of MPX children's and the addicts.
Travis Truebourne is for the children. People.
I'm for the children.
Just like Wu-Tang. It's for the children.
We take forever.
So yeah, that is our, of course, our first hour review, preview of the show and everything like that. Now time for the second hour, the man of the hour, senior official Travis Truebourne.
Hey, man.
Last time we had you on, we were actually able to talk about a whole bunch, and a lot of people listened to that. But unfortunately, now we have a new bunch of fans, and that show has disappeared thanks to the channel it was on shutting down.
It's probably a good thing it did too, because
Yeah, in the long run.
It was a terrible interview. I mean, it really was on my part, not y'all's. Y'all's on my part. I just, it didn't matter. I just said stuff that didn't matter.
Actually,
I gave a lot of interesting info, but it is what it is.
Carlos says you do it for the alcohol.
But I
Who
do.
doesn't do it for the alcohol?
If I'm not doing it for something, I'm doing something wrong. I gotta get my kick somewhere, Carl.
Yep.
At least I can avoid plastic bags ending up over my head when Remedy's in the match with me. I'm just saying,
ouch. Ouch.
I was gonna say you didn't take.
I will say this much: at least he didn't get a pizza thrown in his face.
I was gonna say you actually haven't taken a chair shot from Jamie like Carl did. So
Oh no, but I have taken chair shots from some people, and they tickle. Let me tell you that right now.
they look it.
So, of course, we'll go ahead and start over with the standard question of what got you into pro wrestling as a fan and what got you into it, the business as a whole.
Well, okay. The honest answer to that, what got me into professional wrestling was one day I happened to be over at my grandparents' house. Well, I was like 3 years old or something like that. My grandparents lived in Waco, so we would catch the Dallas broadcast of the world class GCW on TV, USWA, everything. And my grandfather was a very big sports fanatic, and we used to watch the matches back in the early '80s. I was like 3 years old with the Sportatorium and everything, like seeing the Von Erichs and everybody else. I didn't think too much of it. I was just kind of watching it just because I didn't know any better. I really didn't catch interest into it. Even when I was like around 5 or 6, 7 years old, I think I would go over to a friend's house. We stayed the night. He would stay and watch Saturday Night Wrestling, and we would watch it then too. But it really didn't catch on with me until probably when I was about 11 or so years old, something like that. When it was, I turned on TV and I started watching WCW Saturday Night, and I kind of started watching this man they called the Giant, Paul Wright, Big Show. They called the Giant, getting ready to face off against a man they called Ric Flair. Not too long after that, I probably about a day later, I caught the Sunday issue of the review of what happened on Monday Night Raw, where it was Bob Backlund and Bret Hart and Owen Hart and that whole thing going on when Owen Hart turned on Bret, and then Bob Backlund started fighting Bret for the championship. Bob Backlund ends up winning the championship because of Owen Hart, and it was just that's what really kind of got me into it. I got caught in the story, so I kind of had to know what happened next. He kept saying, tune in next week, you'll find out what happens next. I waited all week. I'm on pins and needles. I want to know what's going to happen. And this is before the age of the internet. Nobody had it at that point. So I was always looking for whenever wrestling was coming on that I would start watching it. So I got caught up in the Bret Hart story. Not long after that, I kind of watched it here and there, but I really got into watching it when I started going to the local video cassette store, and that's right. Back then, I'm old enough for cassettes, people. Okay, 8-tracks, cassettes. You don't. Half of you guys in the roster don't even know what those look like.
Jeez.
Or the struggle those things were. Oh, by the way, I got involved with the tape trading days, but I'll get into that in a minute. But okay, so I went to the local video store and I rented. I can't remember what it was, but it was a something 93 or something 92, and I got the one that was most recent that happened, and I remember watching. It was Bret Hart versus I want to say it was SummerSlam, if I'm not mistaken, or I don't know if it was, I can't remember SummerSlam or Survivor Series. It was Bret Hart versus Davey Boy Smith in UK. And
SummerSlam 93.
SummerSlam 93. Yeah. Okay. So I got that. I watched that. I watched that whole match unfold. I knew the story. They told the story throughout the entire show, which is the way you're supposed to tell a wrestling show. You can tell a good written program when the main event of that particular show is being told about the entire show. There's always a lead up to it. They're always going back to where things were. There's a big follow up, and then it kind of got me into wanting to know where all this was going, what all this meant, where all this came from, all of that. So I started, renting more videos, and then I realized that there was more on TV. So I started watching WWF, and I was watching WCW. Then there was ECW that I caught on the Madison Square Garden channel with the black box cable I had back at that time. If you don't know what that's all about, then
Something else that no one knows about.
something else you don't know about. Okay, if you don't know about that, yeah, it's just when you had to pay for TV.
Yep.
When you had to pay for it, you don't just get one network and you pay that monthly charge and that's all you watch, and then you get your streaming. We didn't have streaming, nothing. It was live all the time. So
Piracy was a totally different game back then.
and easier.
tape trading.
And it was speaking of piracy. Yeah, I was a pirate for a long time. So arg. Fast forward into my teen years, somewhere around I guess when I was about 8th grade, when I really started diving into watching every program that I could possibly watch. I was buying pay-per-views because I had gotten involved with the tape trading company. I found out that there was a guy in California, because this was during the time when you had AOL, and we had dial-up back then. So you know how if you know the sound when that thing rolls up. You get all the way through it, then all of a sudden it just dies. Yep. What happened?
Mom, get off the phone!
You don't have enough bandwidth in order to download this program.
Geez.
Oh!
That was the worst.
And no one under the age of 30.
And
has any idea
if
what
you,
we're talking about.
if you don't know what disk defragmentation is, then you need to just go learn something, okay? Go take a class. Buy a typewriter, okay? No, I mean, I don't know what I'm talking about. Anyway.
These days, computer science is also going to include the history of computer science.
Right.
Yeah, when you had to code everything. Everything. And when you had AOL, you got 1,000 minutes, okay? I don't even know what that means in internet time. I really don't. But you have 1,000 minutes to spend on the internet. All I could do was spend 5 minutes at a time sending one message to somebody and then logging back off. Go back in another 5 minutes, log back on, which took another 5 minutes.
Yep.
But it only cost me 1 minute apiece. Once I was on there, I would check the message. He would send me the details of what he wanted to see, and I would try to find it. At the time, I was recording most of Madison Square Garden channel every day. I was recording USWA local shows that were airing here in Dallas. I can't remember. I think it was like on at that time. It was like late on Fox or something like that. And late at night, 2 a.m., I would stay up and watch it. That was back when Jackie Moore was wrestling for them at that time, and then they had a PG-13, and they had I think Lawler was on there for a little bit too.
So it was even after Jeff Jarrett.
It was
real star.
Yeah. It was Jarrett had already left USWA to go on to WCW at that time, and do that run there.
PG-13 is something that was underrated.
No, yeah. I don't want to talk about that anyway. So I got into the tape trading thing. That's when I kind of started to understand where. One day I got a tape in. It was I had found out about RF Video. RF Video was a small little company that started off. I sent them everything I had. They took everything I had. It was all recorded on the most premium cassette tapes I could find. You had to buy the cassette tapes that could last up to 8 hours, and you record all that programming that you want to watch. I had a whole season of Parker Lewis Can't Lose on that entire cassette tape. I recorded over it for wrestling. Why? Because wrestling.
Exactly.
So
I can't deny that I wouldn't do the same.
So I did that. So I recorded basically every time I would record a show, I would stop right where it was and I would not watch it. I would never rewatch it. I would always wait till it was at the end of that tape when I would finally win. I always had to edit everything for commercials. So an hour's worth of programming, I probably got 45 minutes out of. So that way I had 8 hours of tape plus 15 minutes in between the front and the end where there was time to where you had enough room to edit. So I took that footage. I made a copy of it because I had 2 VCRs at the time. I made a copy of it. I took the original copy, I saved it, and I gave the other copy to RF Video, and then they kept it. Then they would use that to disperse other things. They had their own way of doing things, digitally redoing things, everything else like that. So anyway, so I started doing that.
Which surprisingly, RF still has a lot of that stuff that for sale that they've actually digitalized and have put on their whole streaming and everything like that.
Yeah, and probably some of my stuff's probably on there too, but it's not mine; it's somebody else's. But but I got paid for it, so every time I send them a tape, they pay me $10. Yep. So I would send them a tape at least once, twice a week or something like that, because I would find things all over the place. And other people had, in that community on these message boards that you would find on AOL, you could actually buy tapes for like $5. They'll send it to you for like $3. So you basically pay $10 for a cassette tape. You take that and you can make your own little cassette tape on everything else. It's like, I'm looking for this. Well, do you want to see this? And then like, yeah. And then you just start getting stuff. RF Video eventually created a monster. They had a catalog. They had every ECW show ever recorded. They had every fan cam ECW show ever recorded. They had all the stuff that I recorded. They had stuff from everywhere. Anywhere at that time period that if it had happened between 1950 something to 1996, they had it. Yep. Somewhere somebody had it. If they didn't have it, they would find it somehow. They had the connections that way. Yeah. Well, anyway, so
they had stuff from when ECW stood for Eastern Championship Wrestling.
Yes,
yeah,
they did.
Yeah.
Wow.
Because that's actually how I saw a lot of ECW was through RF Video.
Yeah, and that's when Eddie Gilbert owned the company, and then they finally sold Todd Gordon, and it went that way. Well, after watching it, somewhere along the lines, I finally made the decision to see if there was anybody local that did wrestling. Well, lo and behold, that same day, my mom had told me in the newspaper, hey, look, they're opening up a wrestling show down the street. You want to go? I'm like, yeah, I do. So in 1990, I think it was 1996. It was 1996. It was my sophomore year in high school. I went to NWA Southwest show number 1 featuring Dan Severn as the main event card against Rod Price. I was there front row for that. I got to hold all of his UFC title belts in my hands. And Dan was a very nice guy. He's a very charismatic individual, and he's very cool. The show was great. Got to see a lot of guys that I never thought I would ever be in the ring with at that time. Got to see a guy like Ivan Putski, Scott Putski's son. Scott Putski was there. Mm-hmm. He was on the show. Let's see, who else was there? There's a lot of guys that went on to be bigger names and such. Action Jackson was on the show. What's up, AJ? Mm-hmm. Action Jackson was on the show. Larry Ace Green was on the show. Of the Blackbird Posse. If you don't know those guys, those two, Larry Ace Green and his tag team partner, whose name escapes me right now, but they were one of the best tag teams that were ever in Texas at one point. I got to watch that show, and then they started to announce that they had a school. So my goal in high school at that point was to not only to try to learn how to be a good actor, because I was in the drama department in my school at that time, but I wanted to use that skill to learn how to be a good actor and be a good to project myself as far as what I could use in the wrestling world once I started training in that. Well, fast forward after going to the shows many times, I finally got a chance to go to a school after I had left high school, went to college, dropped out of college, came back up here to Fort Worth, started a full-time job. Then I looked for a wrestling school to go to, and lo and behold, NWA Southwest was still running that time, and lo and behold, after that, Texas Championship Wrestling was running on the Friday nights prior to that Saturday. Wow. So I found out about the school, and I found out who was working there. That was the first time back in 1999, 2002. It was 2001. In 2001, when I first met Chris Richter.
He showed us a video once of a match between him and Magnum before he was Magnum, and he's like, "Yeah, you see that ref right there? That is a baby Travis Truebourne."
Yes.
And I was just like, "Holy crap!"
Well, before then, if you watch NWA Southwest, maybe on YouTube, if you find any clips on there, you'll see not even babier Travis Truebourne. You know, high and tight crew cut, clean shaven Travis Truebourne, 185-pound Travis Truebourne, not the 235 guy you see sitting next to you there, buddy. Yeah, a lot of work went into this gut.
Apparently, Richter says the tag team was Chris Young was the other one.
Yes, it was. It was Chris Young. I don't know why I can never remember his name. I feel so bad. But let's see. That's also the first time I saw Dexter Hardaway. He was in a tag team match, in a 6-man tag with Team Extreme. It was Zane Morris and some other guy. I want to say it was. I don't want to say it was Eddie Atlas, as I don't think it was him, but it was some other guy, Ian something. And then it was Dexter Hardaway. Then they went up against somebody. I think it was like Team Extreme or somebody like that. And one of their, I think it was. I want to say it was Brett Bones or somebody. I think it was Brett Bones. Team Extreme, which was Chris Germany and Kid Carson versus and Brett Bones in that tag. I want to say it was that. I can't. It's been so long since it's been almost 20 years now.
Richter says Ian St. James.
Ian St. James. That's right.
Everyone says Richter has a bad memory. It doesn't seem like he does.
No, no. Richter has a phenomenal memory. He remembers a lot of things, names especially. He'll remember things.
Like put together like a table of 3 kind of situation. Get Travis, Dexter, and Richter all together.
Oh
just,
God!
Just talk about wrestling back in the early 2000s.
Would be great.
That probably would be what would happen. And seeing Dexter was just getting started in his career at that point. Actually, no, I saw Dexter back in 1996. That's when I first started seeing him. But he was also at TCW at one point. Richter was kind of. Richter, I think, had just been in TCW probably maybe about a year before they moved to Northwestern Hills, because they were in Plano at one time. And I first met him there. I met BJ Turner there. Met the guy that got me into the school. His name, John Scarborough, otherwise known as the Beast, John Allen. Yes. I owe John Allen a debt of gratitude for at least being so patient with me at that time in my life, because I was going through a lot of emotional, just draining issues and dealing with being a young man, not knowing what the hell to do or where the fuck to go. So he decided to sell his company to Knight Davis. Knight Davis then took TCW and he took it to Denton, and then he turned that into XCW, which I can't say anything bad about Knight. I really can't. He's a businessman. He does what he has to do. He brought a lot of talent into that area. He brought a lot of heat with him too. I'm just saying, because back then, getting into wrestling, if you were working for a show, for some reason some promoters did not like you working anywhere else. Why that is, I don't know. It's because everybody had TV time somewhere else. It didn't matter if it wasn't all in one area, though. Mm-hmm. If you worked at XCW, they were showing it in Denton. They didn't show it in Fort Worth or Dallas. Mm-hmm. If they worked at PCW, they showed it on UPN Network. That pretty much showed everywhere. Right. But if you worked there, you couldn't. It wouldn't matter where you worked.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
But I will say this much: Knight Davis
talked about that, where he worked one, and then they're like, "You can't work the other." He goes, "Okay, well, bye. I'm going to go here."
Yeah.
Like he made that choice of like, no, okay, then if you're going to be that way, I'm going to go here.
Yeah.
So apparently, a lot of wrestlers did that.
And nowadays, that's just no one ever thinks about that way. No. Nobody really thinks that way. I can understand if you're working for some of the top companies, like if you're working at WWE, or you're working at AEW. Mm-hmm. There's understandable reasons why you're contracted. If you have a contract, or if you're an independent contractor, as we want to call it, really what you are is you are an athlete, and you also are an entertainer. You are a professional fucking wrestler.
God damn it, Richter.
So
now he's got a point.
No, he does. Territories, yeah, I get it.
Everybody wanted to be their own territory.
That was And like you're saying, that's
And I really
late
think-
90s,
I
early
really think-
2000s, that's when
and
they
I-
were kind of dying, technically.
Well, the territories were dead.
Right.
Actually, they were dead. The only thing that the people that were trying at that time were to create some sort of territory. But here's the fucking problem. Nobody ever went fucking anywhere except the fucking building that they did the show in. That's it. Why would you have a quote unquote territory for whatever fucking reason if you didn't go places and do shows? PCW did it once. That's it. XCW, I can imagine. I think they did it a couple times, but I can't really
It was
recall.
still all around it.
It's still all around Denton. It's
Yeah.
still all around that certain area. PCW took it to like what? Sherman, Texoma. They did it one show there in a barn that nobody went to.
Yeah, Richter's like territory. So instead of north and south, it was Plano and North Richmond.
And then it turned into Denton, Denton and Arlington.
Yeah.
And why that is, I'll never understand. Half the guys in the locker room were either working there or working in Austin somewhere. Who cares? Who cares? If anything, these guys that were bookers and promoters, if you got a guy that, okay, look, man, I'm making the rounds. I'm going to go here first. I'm going to go here. I'm going to go here. I make good money here. They want me there for a little stint, and I'll come up here and do a little stint with y'all. I mean, I still make my money down there, but if they call me to come work a show down there, and I'm here. I'm closer to home. I'm going to be there. I'm sorry. That's the way it works. It's business, bro. It's nothing personal. But most of the time, if you're a guy that's on the road and you're trying to get exposure, you're trying to get your name out there, you're going to go where the TV's at. Yeah. PCW had TV. XCW had TV. Any of these other cats did? No. But it depends on where you're at. Would depend on what type of show you're going to.
Right. And I mean, and ideally, as an independent wrestler, you're trying to do Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Like you're trying to work those days, and you can find either you can find a double shot on Saturday possibly, or you can find at least one show on those 4 days.
A lot of times you can find 4 shows in 2 days.
Yeah.
Because there was one time when I was actually working 4 shows. I would work 4 shows a week. I work the NAWA show out of Haltom City one day. Then David Fuller ran out of the same building the next day. Then I would finish that show to run all the way over to PCW and do that show. And then the following day I'd doing PCW again. So I would go and referee one show, either referee or wrestle the other show. And then leave that show after. By the way, I was the only referee for both shows on a Saturday. Or Friday, excuse me, on a Friday. I would do both shows on a Friday. Saturday night, I would Iron Man the show again. And Richter can confirm this. At one time, when I first started at PCW, I was only just a guy that would do the dark matches, and then all of a sudden, they decided they didn't want to pay Rick Manning his fee. So, or at least that's what I was told. Then Terry decided he didn't want to do wrestling anymore. Terry Stevens decided he didn't want to be a referee anymore, so he was gone. That left me high and dry. So I had to do not only the uncut shows on Friday by myself, 7 matches, the whole show, all on my own. I would end up turning around and doing the Saturday night show by myself too. So. And then at that point, we had actually lost TV right before they put me on. Yeah. And then lo and behold, they get TV, and then the whole thing tanks. So go figure.
Yeah. Going back a little bit to how we're talking about wrestlers, certain territories can't work here. If you work there as a ref, did you feel different? Were they like, you're a ref, go do whatever? Or were you kind of the same, like, nope, you're mine, stay here?
Well, no, not really. They didn't really care. I always gave it. I always look at the way I do things a little differently. See, if I say I'm going to be somewhere and I'm going to come work for you, I'm going to be there and I'm going to come work for you. If push comes to shove and I can't make it, I'll call you and I'll make it up to you one way or the other. But the only thing that made the difference to me was the fact that they didn't. Okay, I'm gonna say this out loud because this needs to be said. I didn't get any appreciation or any sort of real compensation for being a referee until I finally started doing shows 4 years ago. Okay, when I worked at PCW, there was a time where there were I would get a check every week, but at that time I was the lowest paid person, maybe if I got paid that entire night. When they decided that they were going to get me some help on on the roster. They just the persons that were handing out the checks decided, well, we can only afford to pay one referee, so me and the other referee would have to split the check that week, or we would have to choose who gets it that week. So a lot of times, I was always the fair guy. If they would always come in and ask me, it's like, Travis, is it your turn or is it their turn? If I knew if it was my turn, it was my turn. If I knew it was their turn, it was their turn. But they would just bring some other random dude in, and I was like, you know what? He came a long way. Give him the money. It's not a lot,
Right.
but I will say, let's pay for his gas. I had a job. I had 2 jobs, and then I was working 2 other shows, so it didn't really matter. 3 other shows, excuse me. And then on top of that, I don't think that referees were in some promotions are really treated as such as a talent. They're not treated as talent. You're just another guy in the ring that's there to count to 3. That's all they see you as, which is so completely asinine in my entire opinion. Because after doing this as long as I've done it, you don't get trained to be a referee. You don't get trained to be a referee just because you're just to do refereeing. You don't get trained just to do a referee. A referee is trained into the very basics of how to take bumps, how to act as a wrestler. I actually wrestled matches before. I actually wrestled Chris Richter a couple times. And I'll say this much. The only thing that I can ever take away from any other place is that there were some people that I have worked with in the past that were coming up at the time that I was coming up that didn't treat me the way I thought that I felt respectable. That I feel respectable, but I always try to make sure that I earn my keep in the work that I do, right. And that was the most important thing. I come in, I show up, I do my job, I go home. So that, and then at the end of the day, if they have anything bad to say, then a lot of times they're not saying it to my face. They're saying it behind my back, and that's okay with me.
No, and it's I think nowadays, because I've always liked and appreciated refs. I don't know why. It's just something whenever I watch them, I'm like, they're a main part of the match. And I think I would say
which is why Kirby once had to tell you, we have a new ref, be nice.
And I was, and am. I am very harsh, but I was going back to your point. I would say it's probably within the last maybe 8 or 9 years that refs are kind of getting a lot more recognition for what they actually do, because it isn't just count to 3, count to 10, or whatever. It's no, y'all keep the time in the match. Y'all are passing along things here and there. If something changes, if
we're also
happens,
the boss
you're somewhat pseudo fucking EMT type shit. If something major goes down, there's a lot on a ref that I don't think people really. I mean, they're realizing now, but there's a lot that people don't really think about.
Hell, just the up and down of doing the counts and everything like that. I did that once for training. Yeah. And I'm just like, nope, I will never again disrespect a referee. I don't care how bad they are. Yeah. Because that is, just that alone is rough, and all the other stuff you have to do in a match.
And for anybody that doesn't know, my lovely wife Ashley is here with me, and then she talks about to me all the time, like I cannot believe how you slam yourself down on the mat like that. I'm telling you, I've been doing this now 20 years. I just don't know. I just don't know how to do anything in any other way. Right. I mean, I want everybody to look good. I want what I do look good, and I want everything to seem like it's actually really happening. And the more real it is, the more real it is. And when people if they see something that I do or the face that I make, and I'm watching these guys get hit, and when you hear those chops, they're loud and they hurt me sometimes. They really do. I want to make sure that I do my job. I'm also there to help the guys if they're hurt, if they need to tell me something that I need to know, or I need to tell somebody else something I need to know, or they need to know how much time they have left. I'm there. I never try to get in the way of what they want to do, but after being in this business for as long as I have, you tend to learn a thing or two here or there. Yeah. So. And then it took a while for it to really click with me. It really did. Not that I'm a slow learner, but there was something that was missing in all that. And when I got to PCW in 2002, everything was thrown right in my face. And then finally, I got the opportunity to work in a match with Eddie Atlas and Mike Fox one time. And that was the most hard-hitting match I had ever seen up until that point. All the other wrestling matches that I've been involved with, they're wrestling matches. That was a fight. these two guys were just beating the tar heel out of each other.
They were trying to kill each other.
They were trying to kill each other. They were trying to kill each other. And they did a great job of putting that over and doing everything. And then, lo and behold, not long after that, AJ versus Mike Fox. Mace Malone versus Mike Fox. Mace Malone versus Brandon Carlock. Noble Bryant. You know, all the names I can go on. J.D. Griffey was there. You had... we had Wally Darkman, who was still one of the best characters that ever came out of PCW at that time. I got to work with Chris Richter. I've got to work with B.J. Turner, Necro Butcher, Sabu. I got to work with a whole slew of people. And even recently, I got to work with a guy that actually really kind of helped me, really made me decide that I wanted to be a professional wrestler, and that was Tommy Dreamer. And Tommy Dreamer, and watching his stuff with Raven back in the ECWs, I'm going back in circles. I'm sorry, guys, but watching that whole thing with Cactus Jack and Raven and Stevie Richards and Tommy and Beulah, and that whole story that had told over 3 years worth of fights and everything, including the Sandman and everything, all of that made me realize that's what I wanted to be a part of. I just wanted to do it. I didn't care if it paid me anything. I really didn't care about that. I just wanted to do it. I never got in this business for the money or the fame. I just wanted to do it.
Right. So that actually does bring up the question. You wanted to get into pro wrestling with ECW and everything like that.
Yes.
Where was the line, I guess you could say, of where you wanted to be a wrestler to becoming a referee and becoming, honestly, one of the best referees that we've got?
That's the tail of the tape right there. Here we go. All right. I never gave up on being a wrestler. Never have. And you would know that because you all saw me in a 6-man tag with Matt Palmer and everything. And the last time that y'all did one of the shows with Stephen Kirby, the last one y'all did, I threw my name in the hat. I didn't think I'd ever get a bite. I didn't think I'd get one bite. Never thought it would happen, and I did. Didn't get what I really wanted, but I got what I got what I wanted, you know, and it was just so surreal because it kind of made sense because nobody really liked me back in the early 2000s as a referee back then. As a wrestler, nobody really knew who I was, where we were at. I didn't do it at PCW. We were at some bazaar out in Irving somewhere. At some lucha show in a 6x6, you know.
There's a lovely Gaston Bazaar show.
Yeah, yeah. And a matchbox ring and things like that, you know. Like a ring this big, try not to trip over each other, taking your shirt off, you know, and so I mean, you know, I would do shows like that because I wanted to, you know, try to perfect it, even though I highly regret doing those rings because they were not very safe rings, and a lot of times the boards felt like a bare board, and even though there was no padding, and then anyway,
which is why lucha guys roll instead of bumps.
Thank you, detective.
It's for the audience, not for you know, of course. But.
Of course.
Did you give him his diploma?
No.
Was it on a notepad?
Yeah, exactly.
With a crayon?
Yep.
Okay. All right. I'm just kidding. So, but yeah, I mean, I was wrestling in matches there. I was wrestling in an NAWA ring, which was a 20 by 20 ring. That's to say, but it was also in a building that would rain, and then you could go swimming in the ring.
Jesus. Wow.
I wish I was joking. You can ask Richter that too. If he ever brings that up, if it rained one day, that whole ring would be full of water.
He said he got paid at the show in
Funnel
Cake.
It was good funnel cake, though.
I believe it.
They had different flavors. It was amazing.
Nice.
I'm telling you, they know how to cook it in that little place. I don't know where to get it from. I don't know what they're putting in it, but they're putting something in it. They're probably putting all the cocaine in there. It wasn't sugar. It wasn't powdered sugar.
It was coconut.
It was a Tony Montana mountain of La Coca. So anyway, no wonder we stayed up all night after that.
I was going to say, shit, all the wrestlers that love working those shows then.
You know Richter did. Because the free funnel cake. I don't think he ever ate the funnel cake. I know he got the sugar of it. But it was. I think the other thing that really made me want to be a referee was kind of by happenstance because eventually, after I secured a spot in being a wrestler, I started to notice there are not a lot of referees out there that are really good, that are trained to do certain things. So I honed my craft in order to be a wrestler. I learned how to be a good wrestler. I could work anybody, but I was a fall guy at one point. So basically, I'd go out there and be a good mechanic. I can have a match with somebody and just be what enhancement talent would be.
Yeah.
That's where I was at that extent. I mean, I could do good moves, and I could put a match together. But at that time, I wasn't in that particular echelon of people that decided that there was who was putting all the shows together. I wasn't in that place. I didn't know how to prove myself. I wanted to try, but I never got an opportunity. So they gave me an opportunity to say, look, I need a referee. I'm like, okay, fine, I'll go get some stripes. I went and got some stripes. Went and bought a cheap pair of BDU black pants at the Army Navy, and from there, that is not yours.
She says I'm a cat. It's all mine.
Preacher.
Furball. Anyway, so I bought the cheap BDUs, and I just went out there, did my job, sweated my complete ass off, lost all my breath, went out there, did the whole show by myself. People always ask me, "Are you okay? Do you need water?" I'm like, "Fine. What's next?" It's like I'm like when I'm in the back, a lot of people will see me kind of like I dissociate with what's going on around me because I'm focused on the show. I'm focused on what I need to do and what's going to happen next. I'm trying to focus and trying to do things right. I have this thing, a little obsessive compulsive disorder when it comes to wrestling. I want to know what you're doing so that I act accordingly. I don't want you to look bad, and I don't want you to bury me. And if you make me look like shit, I guarantee you're not going to like me after that because I will make you look like complete crap the rest of the night, the whole night, if I have to. Or in the next couple shows, your whole year is in trouble. I don't go out of my way to hurt anybody. I don't, but I don't like it whenever somebody initially doesn't tell me something that's a very important part, or they just blatantly don't want to tell me. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Especially when I get vetted. Look, bro, I've been doing this for 20 years. You can either tell me the finish, or I can go out there, count to 3, and fuck your finish. Yeah. So at that point, I don't give two shits. I don't care what the booker says. I don't care what anybody else says. They don't even have to pay me. But if they're not going to disrespect me whatsoever. I don't put up with that. Right. But at one point, none of that was taken into consideration. At PCW, that was never taken into consideration. It was never taken into consideration in NWA, but I really didn't have to worry about that because I was working production side at that point. I was actually a security guy, and I did camera work, and I did all the editing with the Davis brothers, the Thomas brothers, Randy and Davey Thomas, which were my best friends at the time, and we would always make sure that everything looked good.
So you've done almost everything.
Pretty much everything in wrestling I've done, except own a show, book a show, and put myself over. No,
you're gonna follow in Carl's footsteps.
Carl's got his own thing going on. He's doing a great job. I'm not going to complain about him. So, I'll do. I love Carl.
No,
Carl's probably the whole reason why we're sitting here right now. Anyway, so he gets all the credit in the world for that. That's all the credit you're going to get tonight, Carl. That's all the credit you're going to get.
Going back a little bit, because like you were talking about that transition from wrestler and ref and everything like that.
Yes.
Is there a ref at the time? Because I know you said they weren't that great, but was there a ref at the time that you kind of watched and mimicked and kind of helped you a lot, or was it more TV refs, or like where did you kind of get that style watching? Terry
Stevens was the guy that I watched mainly. I wanted to watch him because he knew how to go out there and just he did a match with a guy he's a wrestler by the name of Robert Evans, and he wrestled a big giant duffel bag full of stuffing, and the bag went over. Okay, he went out there. He went out there with a crash pad, which is basically just an old beat up boxing bag.
Way before Omega did it.
Way before they were dummies. They were actually like had legs and arms and things. No, it was just a crash pad. He went out there and had that match, $1 million match. And it was great, and he had to be. And Terry Stevens is out there doing the best he can not to laugh the entire time he's doing this. It was a comedy match. It was hilarious. It was funny to see.
It was the main event, apparently.
Everybody in the we all knew it was crap. But it's wrestling. I mean, what else are you gonna see? But it's comedy wrestling. It was a great comedy. It was a great comedy match, and everybody and the boys in the back, we all popped at the end of the match. You popped us. If you pop the boys, you're doing something good. So that's that particular thing. Watching Terry Stevens and anything he did, I wanted to make sure I emulated exactly what he kind of did and just made sure that I was loud enough in order for people to respect me. One person I did like to watch in the ring on TV had to be Brian Hildebrand, or Mark Curtis as he was known in WCW. I loved watching him as a referee because he was just very precise in the things that he did and how he reacted. And whenever he would like watch guys do punches and everything, he would kind of, get into the match a little bit, then he'll zoom out of it. Tommy Young, obviously, everybody likes Tommy Young. You can't not like Tommy Young. Yeah. I never watched Carl Knight. I did not watch Carl Knight. Carl Knight, I've never seen any match he's ever reffed, ever. Never. I just won't watch it. Is that the guy that was a vampire in the TV show? I don't know.
It's Forever Night. Yeah.
Yeah, you caught on to that one, didn't you?
we have fans who are younger than that.
Yeah.
So, you know.
But I will say this much. Now that I've been doing this, I think that the one thing that I do like about being a referee nowadays is after being so long, I don't need to be. I don't have to be the guy that does the main event. I definitely don't want to be the guy that goes out of his way to show up at shows and just talk about himself for 10 minutes and then leave. That's just, or then try to get myself on the show. That's not the kind of guy I am. I'm the kind of guy, I'll show up to watch the show. I'll show up to watch the show. I'll come and support the show. And if I go to a show that's not mine, like say if we go to DFW All Pro one day, if we do go there, and I'm gonna put the show over. I don't care. I'll put over every show that anybody works at. Most of our guys work there too, so whatever.
Despite what some people think, we really hold no ire for any show.
MPX doesn't do it either. We actually put our other shows in our own building. So let's do that. If it's Red River, I'll go and pay a ticket. Yep. 4 decades, Carl. 4 decades. Red Chambers, Jacob Kalubzi. Thank you. 100. Anyway, so yeah, I definitely want to be the guy that's helping talent. I always make sure that I try to watch as much of the matches as I do, so that if they do ask me, what did you think? I always ask them next, are you sure you really want to know? Right. And I give them an honest opinion. And I don't try to go out of my way to hurt them. I'm trying to tell them how I view wrestling and how I expect wrestling to be. My view of wrestling is not the same for everybody. It is not it's not Chris Richter's, it's not Kyle's, it's not J.A.'s, it's not Leon's, it's not Ashley's, it's mine. It's my version of wrestling.
And I think, like I've said before, that's what I've always loved about wrestling is it's opinionated. Like, my opinion doesn't really hold a lot of weight, but it's my opinion. Yours could be very different.
It's a cornucopia.
I think Exodus is an amazing wrestler. Some people may not. That's fine, because again, it's wrestling.
Yeah.
There's so many different tastes. That's why I think it's so great that we have, European chain, we have Japanese strong style, we have TV style.
It's definitely
all this great.
Yeah, it's definitely fruit by the flavor, however you want it. I definitely agree, and that's like a cornucopia. It's like the little Thanksgiving thing. That's an actual cornucopia picture. That's how I see wrestling. You got everything in there, except the kitchen sink.
Sometimes WrestleMania 13, they brought it.
I see what you did there.
Yeah, it was there.
Yeah, it was there.
It was at the back of the building. MPX 1 just never came out to the ring.
Yep.
Forgot what match that was.
I really want to use a kitchen sink match. I want to see a kitchen sink match.
It was
nothing but kitchen sinks, no chairs, just aluminum kitchen sinks.
There we go.
and toilet seats.
That's definitely a Richter match then, right?
Yeah, definitely.
If it's going to be a Richter match, we're going to have to put Legos on the toilet seats.
Carl says, let's chat about the state of tag team wrestling today. Why does it seem like a minefield of a subject?
Right.
Do you really want me to talk about this, Carl?
I mean, I do. I love tag wrestling. Okay, let's talk about the state of tag team wrestling today. The state of tag team wrestling today is by far
a lot different now because now you have your guys nowadays like, okay, where are we going to start with tag team wrestling? Are we going to start tag team wrestling in Texas, or are we going to start in WWE? Or are we going to start in AEW?
There's tag team wrestling in WWE.
There are so many different tag teams nowadays, but there's no real tag teams. No real tag teams. Some of the real tag teams you're going to see are the Sons of Mayhem, like you will see this Saturday.
Yeah.
Put the show over, guys. Put the show over.
Oh, yeah.
You're going to see some tag teams that are just, guys that, they may work well together. They're good friends. They can go out there and hold their own in a fight. Stam Stackhouse and Casey Clay are going to be in a tag team match. Against who? The Sons of Mayhem.
Exactly. And that's, growing up when tag team wrestling was really prominent, like in the 80s with the Hard Foundation, Rocker, everything like that.
And Killer Bees.
Yeah, exactly. Rougeau Brothers, everything was great. And then we kind of go away from it. And I feel it's coming back a little bit.
Yeah.
Minus WWE, but like in Japan, AEW even, independently, there's a lot of good actual tag teams. Even though they are separate a little bit, the boys, Gabe and Matt Prince, they're a great tag team.
I think when they started birthing factions, when the biggest birthing factions that there were at one point there was the Devastation Corporation or Devastation Inc. Excuse me.
Yeah.
And then you had the Four Horsemen, you had the Fabulous Freebirds,
right.
You had what was the name of that? Of course, you had the NWO, which you had the Von Erichs, which family factions are just that.
Right.
You have the Briscoe brothers.
Mm-hmm.
You have Johnny and Greg Valentine. You had you had the Blackjacks, and then you had the Blackhearts, and then you had a plethora of different types of tag team guys. You even had the Basham brothers, and you had who were the two bald guys that were like twins.
Basham Brothers.
Yeah, there's the Basham.
They weren't actual twins.
No, Richter. What are the? Like Richter would know. Richter, they used to have big wild hair, but they were brothers. They're actually twin brothers.
The brothers, Blue Brothers.
The Blue Brothers, yeah. The brothers Blue.
And they also are now shaved heads.
Yes, yes.
Forgot what they are. Ron and Don Harris.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then you got into the era where factions started to become a thing, where you had. After the NWO started, of course, the Four Horsemen were running supreme at that point. Oh, you also had the Legion of Doom. Then you had...
well, and that's the thing, even in the factions, I think that's one reason why I love the Four Horsemen so much as a faction, because they were still so, like, you had the tag team in Tully and Arn.
Yeah.
Then you had, the mid-card and Wyndham or whoever, and then you had Rick being the guy.
Yeah.
Like, I like how they had that dynamic.
It was when you have that type of dynamic. The state of wrestling today, there's not a lot of tag teams nowadays. But here's the thing: that when it comes to the state of wrestling today, the Harris brothers. Thank you, Carl.
Yeah,
that's
Ron
Don Harris. The state of tag team wrestling these days is not the same as it was when I started watching it in ECW. ECW tag team matches, some of the best tag team matches I've ever seen were on ECW at a fan cam show. They had a tag team tournament back in 2001, I believe, and it was probably one of the best tag team tournaments I've ever seen. Yeah. Some of the best tag team wrestling. And also, if they hit the finish one time, that was it. That was it. They told the story in the match. They told the story when they walked out the curtain to the moment that bell rang, and they walked right back through that curtain. That was tag team wrestling to me. Tag team wrestling today is just not the same. To me, as much as I love wrestling, and I'll be honest when I say this, as much as I love wrestling, a lot of it's very watered down. Yeah. It's not the same anymore. It peaked in the mid 2000 era where things were different, things were new, and then they decided, you know what, we're putting too many risk on it, kill it. Yeah. So they killed it, and then they did right by that because they're protecting their talent.
Right.
But at the same time, it's just not the same. It's not the same as it was for me.
There are some tag teams that kind of get thrown together and stuff like that, like Owen and Davey.
Mean Street Posse, Patrick. Mean Street Posse. Awesome. You mean the disgruntled Gap workers?
Main Street Posse was great. But like Owen and Davey Boy, big singles guys thrown together, great tag team. And there are some that work that way. Cesaro and Sheamus took something that shouldn't have worked, but they did really well together.
And I don't disagree with that. I really think that the tag teams that like those instances but when you have these one-offs that they do a tag team for a period of 2 weeks, oh, we're going to see how this works, and then nobody cares. Right. You know, nobody gets it, nobody wants it, but they keep throwing it at you. It's kind of like Disco Inferno and Alex Wright. I'm just saying.
That's very true. I mean, on paper, you got two dancing guys. Should have worked, right? But neither one of them are tag team. You look at Billy Gunn and Road Dogg. Arguably both tag team wrestlers, and then you put them together, and it worked.
Yes.
Because they both had how many failed tag teams before? I mean, okay, I guess Smoking Guns won a failed tag team.
Smoking Guns was not a failed tag team.
No.
That they were a great tag team. It just didn't fit.
They went away from the whole gimmicky era type, so to speak.
I wouldn't say that, but I mean, they did get away from the PG era version of it at that point. Which was we need. We need that. I mean, if wrestling is not supposed to be cartoons, I'm sorry, wrestling is not a cartoon. It can be. Yeah. It can be cartoonish. It doesn't have to be, though. Wrestling is it started off being a very violent, real sport because that's what it was on TV for the longest time. Back in the early 40s and back when Frank Gosh started all this stuff, it was a very violent thing. It was real. Everything was a shoot. Everything was on target, but you didn't go out of your way to kill a guy. Because guess what? You got to wrestle him in a couple more weeks down the road, and you're gonna have to you got to figure out how to make money in that town. Well, it's the same thing. It's just like here. It's all about if we do nowadays, it's more. There's so much exposure. It's hard to keep it exciting. So that's why it is watered down, and that's the hard part about being in wrestling nowadays. Is not you've seen the peak of it, and it comes back down. It's only a matter of time before that cycle comes back in again, where we go that extra link.
I mean, especially with things that are going on right now in the big leagues.
Well, I was gonna say it is because that's some Bruce Pritchard will say wrestling is cyclical. It always comes back.
Yes,
and you're gonna have highs, you're gonna have lows, and it's gonna come back up. And it is. I do think, like I said, maybe not WWE, so to speak, but independently, AEW, Japan, I think tag team wrestling is kind of on the rise a little bit. It's kind of getting back. FTR is a huge part of that.
I love FTR.
As far as bringing wrestling back. Again, look at them. They are very old school in the fact they still held the tag rope. No one else in the match will, but those two motherfuckers will.
Yeah.
That's great.
You know what? I'll say this much about FTR, too. They don't do anything flashy, but everything that they do means something. When they wrestled each other, they did the Bret Hart Owen.
Yes.
That was the best match on the card that entire night, up until this entire year. That's still the best match the entire year. I'm sorry, that's just me. Anytime FTR is in the ring for whatever reason, I'm watching.
Yeah, and even promos, that vignette or the thing they filmed with the Briscoes.
Yes,
that whole thing, and again, it all meant something. Even if it was as small as the tequila bottle getting broken, they made it work into something. Yeah, and it was great.
And I really think that the Briscoes, that's another tag team.
Yes.
That's they don't get enough credit for what really they do. Don't. But when they went up against FTR and ROH or on Impact, that was a phenomenal banger of a match. And again, the match itself, it started somewhere, it built up, and it came back down. Then it built way higher, then it came back down, and it went all the way off the roof. When it comes down to wrestling, that's the way it's supposed to be. It's supposed to be just like there's no other way to say it, but it's just like sex. It's supposed to be just like that. You build up, you bring it down, you bring it up, bring it down, bring it down, so that when you pop, it's everything you want it in rainbows.
Exactly.
Yeah. I mean, hell, even going back to when they were the Revival taking on DIY, those were freaking amazing matches.
American Alpha in Dallas, the NXT Takeover in Nakamura debuted.
Yeah.
That tag match. Holy shit.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Any other questions, Carl? Because I'm running out of material.
Actually, Greg had asked, "What do you think of Triple H taking over for Vince?"
I think that's the best thing that they could have done. I think Triple H has the mind for the business. He's always had the mind for the business. I think he knows what needs to be shown, and he's always been good with ideas. I have nothing to worry about in the state of WWE as far as that's concerned, with Triple H being involved.
Honestly, I saw something earlier on Facebook. Someone pointed out, they're like, do you realize if Triple H would have taken creative just 2 years ago, Keith Lee's probably on Raw as a main star. Undisputed Era is all still signed and on the main roster. Gargano's probably one of the main guys. Like, there's a lot of talent. Miro, Malachi Black, like they're all still there and being main guys. Yet, because of creative and everything like that, nope, they're gone away. Now, I don't think all that would have been true. I love Gargano. I don't know if he can be that top guy, though.
Not on the main show.
Like,
if it was still NXT Black and Gold and everything like that.
Well, and then
he
even
dominated that
he would
for
be a
reason.
great. I mean, and we all people look down when you say mid card, but he would be a great Intercontinental U.S. champion to really build those titles back up. Because honestly, right now, I can't tell you who holds them. I know Walter or whatever his name is now
Gunther.
holds the IC title.
We're never calling him a guy.
Don't know who.
I don't know why you would
holds
repackage
US
the guy that you just built up in NXT into another person. And that's another thing about WWE I don't understand. I don't know why you would build somebody up. In 5 years, you've had this guy. And then you would just turn around and say, no, we're going to repackage you. We're just going to change your name. Okay, the dude dropped like maybe 50 pounds of just bulk weight and trimmed down to the massive like beast that he is.
Right.
But at the same time, why would you change his name unless it had something to do with like a legal problem on his personal
both.
legal? I think it had to.
He actually did an interview recently for WWE on the Bump or whatever.
Probably for his
where
name.
He talked about it. It's Walter's his real name, and he's like, so I've always never really liked using it. I just always did. And he goes, too, it's legal. WWE wants to own stuff. I have no problem with it. They gave me a list of names. I thought that one was okay, so I did it because in the end, I never wanted to use my real name anyways.
Okay, but if that was the case, that should have been brought up from the word go.
Yeah,
And why they didn't do that, I don't know. But I know why they didn't do it because he had already made a name by his own right.
Right.
And there are guys that like Lance Hoyt. He uses his own name. Of course, Chris doesn't use his real name. I don't use my real name, but
it was always weird to me in WWE because Samojo, they let him keep his name. Okay,
Yeah.
cool, interesting. Finn Balor, Prince Devitt, they made him change. I'm
Yeah.
like, weird.
oh, that's another thing. I was actually one of my last shows in NWA Southwest. Prince Devitt was on that show.
Nice.
Yes, it was it was in Corpus Christi where we did an anniversary show. Prince Devitt was in a.
Those are fighting words, sir.
Those were a long time ago. And Ron Killings. And there's a picture of me on my Facebook where you see me and Ron Killings and all the other production guys were there at the in Corpus Christi at the semi-pro hockey league that they had down there in that hallway. And that's also the same picture we took right before we tried to get a picture with Conan, and he just walked away from us.
Poor P-Dog.
Yeah.
Not if you pronounce it correctly.
Actually, no, that was Walter had said that in the interview on the Bump. He goes, it's an old person's name. He's like, I've never liked it. It's actually
Patrick, how can you
that's his dad's name.
Patrick,
So,
Patrick, how can you say that? You have both first and last names for both your first and last name. Irish Superman over there. I wish I do. Fly me away, fly, fly, fly.
But yeah,
Fly,
no.
fly,
When it comes to Triple H taking over, one of the other things I was like, people are like watching Raw on Monday, like, well, nothing's changed. It's like, of course, nothing changed yet. It's the first show.
Well, it doesn't have to change. I know it doesn't have to change. It just needs to move forward.
Yeah.
Wrestling is always going forward. It will never, ever go back unless there's a necessity for it being remembered. And a lot of times you'll see that. Stone Cold versus The Rock, they always turned it back around. Taker versus Mankind, or Triple H versus Cactus Jack, or they'll always bring back old feuds. Like Ric Flair and Roddy Piper, or Ric Flair and Hogan, bringing old stuff back because we want to see that stuff. People love to see the old feuds as well as the new. So if anything comes of those of that generation to a new generation, that's good. Going back to the conversation where we're talking about how, where would those guys be in NXT had Triple H taken over 2 years ago? I can't honestly say that would be the case because look at what's come out of it. You got a whole bunch of new people that came out of the woodwork that we had never seen before. We probably never would see had it stayed in the state that it was. That's just saying that. But then again, AEW was offering opportunities. There was a lot of people going to the Performance Center and not getting any shot or any perpetual shot at being on TV at some point. You have to figure the odds at one point were not in favor of those still going to the Performance Center and not making it to where they need to do it. They would become enhancement talent on the road. A lot of times that does happen. Another thing is that had AEW taken the talent from the Performance Center, it looks real bad on WWE. So yeah, they have to let people go and they have to start all over again because they got this whole new thing going on. It has to happen eventually. Eventually, you have to start over from scratch with nothing. And I think that what they did was very smart. That doesn't necessarily mean the product that we're getting is what we want to see, but it is providing some entertainment for those people that they're trying to target in an audience in the first place, like younger kids and everything else. NXT is built, all the programming right now is built for kids between the ages of 8 to 16, which is fine because they want to project that. AEW's demographic, they're feeding a whole different demographic. That's why I don't think that those two companies are competing. They're not.
18 to 34 range.
You're not going to compete in the. I mean, yeah, you're going to compete on television and ratings. Fine, I get it. It's a business, but it is what it is. But they're not targeting the same demographics. No. They're targeting families in WWE. They're targeting
us.
Right. It's exactly when Bischoff took over in WCW.
Yeah,
he saw that, he took it in a whole different direction, and he even said, he goes, "We're competing, but not really, because we're going after something completely different than they are."
Right, and it's the same thing what happened in ECW when Paul Heyman took over, because at one time it was to be honest with you, it was kind of garbage wrestling, but eventually it became something much more than that when it started hitting TV.
And that's the thing, like, people our age and everything, we glorify the Attitude Era. If you actually rewatch it, it's a lot of shit. Like, it's a 2-hour show that has maybe 30 minutes good of wrestling, but it's not, a lot of it was really bad wrestling. And the same with ECW. ECW is really bad, except for every now and then you get a Guerrero versus Malenko, which is like, holy shit, it's amazing.
And that's what people talk about when they talk about the old days of ECW.
Yeah, well, that and the stories they told, like the Sandman being
Raven's
blind.
Yeah.
Oh my God, Raven and Dream.
Yeah, and Sandman was blind. He was gone for an entire month. Nobody answered it. He didn't answer his phone. He didn't come to his door. He didn't go check his mail. He stayed in his house. His wife came to the door and answered everything. That was real.
Yes.
And then he comes out there on TV and he's completely blind. He's announcing his retirement, and then things happen, and then a woman gets involved and they just go to town talking mad shit about Tommy Dreamer. Tommy Dreamer comes out there and gets in her face, and then all of a sudden you see the tape come off his eyes. He picks up that kendo stick. He picks up that Singapore cane, and he just nails Tommy as hard as he can with that thing. You saw it bend.
It's over, yeah. Fuck. So great.
Yeah.
I mean, I love talking wrestling. I think wrestling is. I can talk for hours and hours about wrestling and what things that I've seen and what I loved about all the stories. But I think the thing that I love most about wrestling in general, going back to answering your question, what was the one thing that I like, what I wanted to do, what really makes me be in this and be a wrestling referee now, it's just being a part of the stories. And being a part of the stuff that goes on behind the scenes, and not only that, but you get to watch these guys, and you get to see where they come from, and they get to see where you come from. You get to work together, and after a while, it's not work anymore.
Right.
It's like, I'm gonna go see my family. I've been married to wrestling longer than I've been in my current marriage, and that's the thing, and it's hard to for anybody that doesn't know what that means. It's kind of like saying, it's like you've done something you've loved your entire life, and eventually it comes to a point where you're going to have to make the decision eventually, where you've got to step away because it's just not enough anymore. You're either you can't physically do it anymore, you're not mentally capable of doing the things anymore, or it's just time for you to move out of the way for other people to come in.
Right.
And I've watched, being in this as long as I've had, most of the guys that I started with are not doing this anymore. Most of the people that started after me are still not doing this anymore. And now I'm at that point in my career where I'm able to help. How am I not really me? Nick.
It was when you were talking about people using their real names.
Oh, Travis is my real name. Travis is my real first name. Travis, but Truebourne is not my real last name. I made that very clear. And my cousin, who works for the WWE, that's his real. He doesn't go by his real name either. So that's that. So, I don't. What was I talking about? Where was I at? Oh, my whole thing is that I want to make sure that the guys that I work with, that like Chris Richter usually says in his post, I want to come in this business. I want to leave it better than I left it.
Right.
You know. So that's I want to leave it better than what I got into. We've all known in the last couple of years what all's gone on in independent wrestling and in wrestling in general, and all the dark clouds that just started to come out of nowhere. But honestly, if that's the worst that could have happened, that's fine. That just opens up doors for all the people that are going to be good to come in, and let them come. Let them come in, because we need people that are good. We need people that are of like-minded individuals. We need talent that's going to go out there, perform for these people, and that pay their hard-earned money, that come and support independent wrestling because they love wrestling, not because it's just something to do on a Saturday or Friday or Sunday night. You come to watch wrestling. And as much as he gets under my goddamn skin, I'll even say the one thing about that one guy that sits in the front row. I won't say his name. He comes in, he pays his hard-earned money, he screams for it, he screams his lungs out, he chastises me and Nick all the time. And there are times I want to drill my fist so far down his throat it comes out his rear end.
And you think I'm hard on this? Really?
Yeah.
You're not as hard on me as you used to be. That's the truth.
Oh, yeah.
That is the
Not as
truth.
much as I used to be.
That is the truth. No, Superman, he doesn't.
But
First and last name. First and last name for first and last name.
Cole asks, have we ever figured out why Travis wants to give me a stunner all the time?
Who said that?
Michael Cole.
who doesn't
want to give you a
right?
who doesn't? I would let Lillian give you a stunner. I want your wife to give you a stunner is what I want to see it. I want to see it happen.
Yes.
Yeah.
I
would love to see that happen.
I'm gonna change.
Not gonna lie.
We're gonna change Greg's question a little bit because it's gonna be very hard. What is your favorite match to wrestle? Because you've done so many, it's hard to pick one favorite. Going back to because you love stories. Do you have a favorite story moment of a match you were involved in?
So many. It's really hard to pinpoint one that was really a part of an actual story. Thanks a lot. Lost my train of thought.
Sorry, Kyle is saying
Honestly, I think when it comes to major
Never hard to hear.
when it comes to major feuds, I think one of my favorite ones to be a part of, not just honestly, my favorite one of all time, Stephen Kirby. That's the truth. I'll be honest. That was my favorite one. To be a part of that story and to see that, and to see after working with this man for now 4 years, even though it started really in 2010.
Right.
For it to finally come full circle and for him to, go be a family man and be the man that he is now. That is one particular story that I was glad to be a part of in some way or another, whether I was a referee or whether I was a wrestler. It didn't matter what I was doing. If I was a part of his, I was part of his show. And I promised him when I came to work his show, you'll never have a problem with me. You'll never have any issues. He never did that I know of. He was always a good person to talk to. He's always good to bounce things off of. I didn't always agree with a lot of things he said, but I mean, it doesn't matter. I mean, he's at the end of the day, he's the one that says, what does.
Well, then it's like we said earlier. It's wrestling.
It's wrestling. Everybody's got an opinion.
Yeah.
So I mean, I understand what his opinion is, and I respected his opinion because that's the way he wanted to do things, and that's fine. It's his business. It's what he wants to do. That's fine. That's not me.
Exactly.
So I always had his back no matter what he wanted to do, and I was fine with it. And but he was always good for ideas. He's always good to come up with things. So, and for him to talk to to collaborate with the booker at the time to get me involved in a wrestling match and actually wrestle a match that I haven't done in 20 years was probably the best thing that could have ever happened to me. Nice. And I think that was my favorite. But as far as outside of what I do, my favorite story ever, my favorite story that was ever told was probably watching Ric Flair and his career-ending match with Shawn Michaels is probably the one that I was there. I was at that WrestleMania and I watched it live, and I cannot. I mean, it was raining that day, but I'm not going to say there were probably some water droplets under my eyes. I'm not going to say it was tears because it probably wasn't. But I will say that it was not a dry eye in the house whenever that happened, and yeah, I think that.
If you got to see the "I love you, I'm sorry."
Yeah. That, or to see Mick Foley when he lost his match against Triple H in the final Hell in a Cell match that he had at that time.
No way.
At that time.
Yeah, that was a good one too.
And then to come back 4 months later and be a part of another match.
Which apparently he didn't.
I'm just going to wait until 6 months. I came back in 4. Greatest thing ever. To see him go full circle with Randy Orton and to turn right around and pull off that banger of a match at Mania with Edge.
Yes.
I don't think there's anything that I could possibly really pull a rabbit out. Arn Anderson retiring from the Four Horsemen. I'm a big Ric Flair mark. I can't help it. Triple H mark too. Everything he's ever done. I love his stories. Oh, I love it when he turns heel out of nowhere too. I love the storyline wrestling. I love the of course everybody loved the Macho Man and Hogan and Elizabeth triangle thing.
The Towers of Power.
Yeah, the whole triangle thing that happened there, and then the turnaround at the end after she finally come back and everything. I mean, who doesn't love a story like that?
Exactly.
So I love stories like that, or whenever you have a feud that goes on for just forever and just doesn't end. So yeah, anything else? What we got?
I don't know. Anyone else got any questions?
Do y'all have any questions? Ashley, you got any questions? Patrick, you got any questions? Okay.
I know you had said earlier you don't really put stock into what match you're reffing and stuff like that. Was there ever a moment, like say it was some big profile match or some big title match that they're like, hey, we're gonna let someone else ref it, and you were kind of like, but I'm the ref, like, I'm the guy, or
I don't. Yeah, it happens all the time.
Yeah.
I'm okay with it.
Right.
If that's what they feel. If I honestly, like I said, our booker at a wrestling show that I work at once came over to me and said, "Hey, what do you want to do? Do you what matches do you want to work?" Because they didn't have us down for who did what. I said, "Give the new guy the main event." I'm always I don't care about giving up my spot. I don't have a spot. I'm sorry, nobody should have a spot. You earn your place where you're at in wrestling because of how many tickets you sell and how many people are drawing to see you. It's based on where you are at in that deal. I think Al Snow. If anybody watches Al Snow, and I know he says a lot of stupid shit. Don't get me wrong, but at the same time, Al Snow's got a good point. If you're not the one selling tickets, they're not going to need you on the main card. If you're not selling the tickets to sell that card out, the only people that are coming to see you are your mom, dad, and uncle from out of town, or your girlfriend and whatever, and maybe your dog is probably sitting front row for your first match ever. No, they're not going to come and see you until they understand who you are and they find something that's relatable to you, to them, that they like to watch. Yeah. So when it comes to me being a referee, I don't have any say. I don't really have any say as far as what matches I do. I go in there and I do what I'm told to do. But there are times when I look at the card and like, you know what, this would be a good opportunity for him. Let him do it. And I will switch matches. I will switch the whole card if I have to. I've earned the right to say that, I guess, in a way. To the people that I work with, they've given me the option to do that. Right. I've been privileged with that, and that's fine with me. I don't have to be a main event guy. I don't need to be a main event guy. My job is to make sure that the kid behind me that's just getting into this, that's getting started, he does the same thing for me, or he does the same. I'll do the thing for him that he'll do for the guy that's behind him, and that's what wrestling's supposed to be like. And I was taught the other way around, but I've seen other guys act the other way around. But wrestling is all about putting the guy coming in over, so that whenever you give him the rub, right, or you go over in the match, you at least give him something. You make him bigger than what he was when he came into it.
Yeah.
Speaking of the kid coming in behind you, what was it like to become basically a mentor for Ref Nick now?
What was it like?
Yeah. Did they ask you to come in and train him, or was that something you decided on your own? Or
I've never had to use pictures as examples before I met Nick. I mean, I had to draw cartoons for him, mainly because he just had a kid. Sometimes I kind of feel like he was always on shrooms every time I talked to him. like he snorted like he snorted like a whole bag of cocaine, and then all of a sudden, no, I mean Nick has always been he was very nervous when he first started, and I just tried to help him understand how to be the referee he is now. I just compared it to the things that he knows. I did a little research on Nick and who he is and where he came from and what he's known to do. Nick is a very bright and smart, and he's got a lot of potential. He's doing things that I didn't do. And he's learning things that I do, but he does it his own way. And I think with that, I told him, look, the best advice I think I ever gave him, he can agree or disagree with this, but the only advice I gave him was, look, Nick, you play guitar, right? Yeah. Okay. Wrestling is like music. Whenever you're playing live and you mess up, what do? You keep going. Yeah. You keep playing because you mess up one note, no one's going to really catch it unless they really listen. Unless they're really paying attention. You're the guitar player. You're the expert at that point, right? Mm-hmm. Nobody's any better than you at that point if you're playing that song. I'm just saying. Unless, somebody knows how to play a song better than you, then that's what it is. But wrestling is like music. You play it one time all the way through, and you just go back later on, watch your performance, see what you did wrong, and you learn to improve on that. I told him who to watch. I said, watch every match that I do. If you find something you like that you think you could do, try it. Then go home and watch the matches that you do and see what you could do better. The only way you're going to get better is if you watch the stuff you do. Right. So, and I always try to make sure that if he is doing something that I let him know. I don't chastise him. I don't give him a hard time. I say, look, bro, this is what the deal is. I want him to be better than me. This is what I want. I want to be able to leave something of me so that whenever eventually he's going to get to the point where if he decides to do this as long as I have, he can do the same thing for somebody else. That's the important thing to me. It's all about continuing it doesn't matter about continuing my name or my legacy. It's all about the legacy of what we do and why. The essence of the art itself, that's what we continue.
That's why referees should have their own training class, in my opinion. But
some do. Roe just announced that.
Oh, really?
They do.
They had a special, because I just saw it's like $75. You get a special ref-only class, and they'll teach you and stuff.
That's
So I
awesome.
was like, that's kind of cool.
Awesome. But
so Richter says you're the one who told me to cut the beard.
No, he lost the bet.
That was part of your
he lost the bet.
But it is now, of course, it's after time and everything like that. And I am trying and dial things back a little bit. So thank you for tuning in, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you very much, Travis.
No, thank you for letting me be on the show for the 100. 100.
Yep. It's a little funny with the numbers because of special episodes and everything like that.
No, you already told him it's 100.
100. 100. What was it?
It's 100.
It's 100.
Yep.
Or as Carl likes to call it, 100 Part 2. But either way, get your tickets for this Saturday, Summer Stunners, and of course, get your season passes for August. They're already on sale, and Aztec Warfare is going to be incredible on the 13th.
Yes.
And they've also announced that they're starting to sell tickets for the September 3rd show with Kid Bandit. Mm-hmm. I'm excited for that one. I'm already going to get my tickets because, I can't miss that one. And of course, they've just announced also that they're going to be allowing for sponsoring wrestlers. Who do you want?
And referees.
And referees.
You're ready to get sponsored?
Oh, geez. So the guys you try to
sponsor me
over are going to be sponsoring the hell.
Sponsor Nick. Sponsor Nick, please. If it don't sponsor me, well, sponsor me, but don't sponsor Nick.
Yeah,
sponsor Nick.
Definitely email MPX Wrestling
and Jake Lindsay
and
Red Chambers.
It's going to be
and Tommy
really
Dean.
Awesome. We will
Nick Nash.
See you later, ladies and gentlemen. Keep it kayfabe.
And Matt Locke.
See y'all Saturday.
Keep it kayfabe.
Keep it kayfabe. Yeah. Gotch be with you. Keep
I was going to say,
Mark out.
where's your Gotch be with you?